ESPN Upstate.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys, children of all ages, welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. What's happening? Y'all, let's get it going. Great to be with you here on a Thursday afternoon. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Colonel Grudge, the Alpha and the Omega of ESPN. I'm thinking content, hashtag dad kicks. Lonzo, back in the network, pushing the button switch, and the switch is he's in charge of the broadcast today. Zoe, it's Thursday, big dog. How we doing?
You know, there are times you turn on social media, look up, and you see that Wendy's has spicy chicken Pringles now.
I'll try it. Great time on the cell phone.
Yes, it was.
Great time on the cell phone.
By the way, it seems to me like a couple weeks ago you said you were changing that. I knew you wouldn't.
I can't. That's about the sixth time that somebody has said something. A text has come in exactly. I told you right after I changed it that like 2 or 3 days after I put it in. Like 2 or 3 days after I put it in, I had somebody tell me a story where their pet died. They were like, "Yeah, it's just really sad. I had to put him down. And that was the moment that I realized that this is a game, Lonzo. This is a game that I can't win, but I will play forever. A game that I cannot win, but I will play forever. I'm to the point now where I want to leave it on during the show just to see what the most outrageous thing that gets said, followed by a womp, 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 womp.
What has decreed will be met by that sound. That is it's a great game to play, but there are repercussions for that.
There's only bad outcomes here. There's only bad outcomes, right? There is no winning scenario for me other than like 15 years down the road when I get to go. My best friend told me his dad died and played. And I know that there's only, what does it say about me, Zoe, that I know that there are only bad outcomes, only outcomes where I end up looking like a jerk, and yet have decided to roll on with the sounder anyway. It is what it is. It is what it is. And also I am also here for spicy chicken Pringles. Why not? Why not? Here's my question, because I've heard people say that about other flavors in the past. So, like, nobody scoffs at pizza flavored Pringles. Nobody scoffs at buffalo wing flavored Pringles.
Both are excellent, by the way.
Spicy chicken Pringles, the one that everybody loses their mind about.
The thing that stood out is it's got the Wendy's logo on it. I mean, it could have just went with spicy chicken and it wouldn't matter, but it's Wendy's spicy chicken Pringles, which means it better taste like Wendy's spicy chicken, which has a certain flavor to it.
I will go with this. Of all of the fast food chicken nuggets, if you are in a spot where chicken nuggets are what are going to hit the spot, of all the fast food chicken nuggets, Wendy's spicy chicken nuggets are the best. They are the go-to. Chick-fil-A, not bad. Chick-fil-A, I would argue, is right up there in second place. But specifically the spicy chicken nuggets, you can't top it. You can't top it. They're the goat nuggets, man. They're the goat nuggets. So why not make some Pringles flavored that way? We got a vote on the Ingles Market text line 71307 already. Oh, never mind. I thought he was talking about Cane's chicken. He said them Cane's gonna bring home the cup. My brain's in fast food mode. I thought he meant Cane's chicken, which is a chicken brand down in Louisiana. He meant the Carolina. He meant sports, Lonzo. He meant sports on the sports talk.
How dare you, text into this program and want to talk about sports? How dare you?
What do you think we do here? What is it you think we do here? Huh? The sheer audacity of stepping in here with a sports take. Hey, speaking of sports takes, Lonzo, let's do that thing we do to start the show.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
You guys are here. Scuttlebutt.
What
in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? Lunch! Lunch!
The lunch breakdown, the three things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, families, co-workers, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. This will be the scuttlebutt around the lunch table this afternoon. We start, by the way, I don't know if I told you this, Lonzo. We have two interviews today. Obviously, at 1 o'clock, Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast is going to join us on the show. And coming up this hour at 12:35, a young man by the name of Casey Milton is going to join us. So Casey Milton is the entertainment director for the Spartanburgers. We got our first Spartanburgers interview lined up, Zoe. We're talking Spartanburger baseball today, man. Let's get it. Looking forward to that. That's coming up at 12:35, so stay tuned for the back half of this hour. For that, we start with item number one. Hey, Texter, would you look at that? You say, let's go Canes, bring home the cup. Another text, Lonzo, says, hey, fat asses, enough talk about junk food. Let's get to the lunch breakdown. I think I didn't know Mark Hendricks was texting the show, but here we are.
Well, Mark Hendricks is in incredible shape, but he would never say that about us. And Texter, you're wrong. What do you weigh?
We're
I'm
not
curious.
fat.
Yeah.
We're fluffy. We're big bones.
Hey, you say all that. I look good.
It was a day of work last night for your Carolina Hurricanes, but a 3-0 win over the Nashville Predators gives them a 2-0 series lead in the Central Division in the first round over their one-year divisional rivals. Alex Nedeljkovic was a man last night. The Carolina Hurricanes PK killers or penalty killers were men last night. Nedeljkovic, 32 saves to lead a perfect showing for Carolina's penalty kill group. A penalty kill group that faced 5 Nashville Predators power plays before we hit the halfway mark of the game. They faced 5 power plays before there were 10 minutes left in the second period. They were perfect against an onslaught of Nashville one-man advantages, and the 25-year-old rookie looked like an absolute man in front of the pipes last night. The 25-year-old won his first career playoff start on Monday in a 5-2 win. Last night, faced a barrage of Predator one-man advantage opportunities and shut them out. The Canes called for 9 penalties and spent the majority of the night doing everything they could to protect a 1-0 lead. They turned around 7 power plays by the end of the game. 7 power plays for Nashville, and they turned them all away. Carolina had killed 19 of 20 penalties over its last 8 regular season games and has killed 10 of them in the first 2 games in the best of 7 series. Nedeljkovic said they're not always going to be pretty. Tonight, there was a lot of sacrifices around the board. Guys were blocking shots. Guys were diving to make plays, get pucks out. It wasn't our best, but it was a really good effort, a really gutsy effort. Sebastian Aho scored twice as well, including when he finally gave the Canes some breathing room, was able to skate down a loose puck to score an empty netter at 19:07 to the third to make it 2-0. Warren Fogle added a third in the final seconds, a rare success for Carolina against Jusaros, the goaltender for Nashville. So your Canes, ladies and gentlemen, up 2 games over the Preds. Remember, the Preds going into the playoffs got the better of Carolina down the stretch, including a big multi-goal win in the final game of the regular season. But the seedings were locked up at that point. I asked, was this just Carolina maybe taking it a little bit easy since they had already locked up the 1 seed in the Central? And it looks like that was the case. Nedeljkovic and company were great on the penalty kill last night, and it shows up in way of and by the way, a 3-0 win. Yes, indeed, a 3-0 win, but a 3-0 win that was much closer than that final scoreline indicated. Goal number 2 came inside of a minute and some change left to go up 2, and then the third one came just seconds later. The last one not against an empty net, but at that point, the Preds were throwing everything they had forward, so they really were caught off position, and it was a great win for Carolina, up 2-0 in that series. Speaking of South Carolina, item numero dos, Lonzo, get out the shakers, my man, because Williams-Brice Stadium is going to be a rockin' in the fall. In fact, you know what we haven't done yet today? Lonzo, get the glass ready, man. We got breaking news. South Carolina announced yesterday that they are planning for the 77,559-seat Williams-Brice Stadium to be at 100% capacity when fall football rolls around. Last season, limited attendance at around 20,000 fans per game due to the pandemic. Mask and social distancing were required, but it will feel like football in Columbia this year on September 4th when U of SC opens up the season against Eastern Illinois. The Gamecock faithful will be out in the tens of thousands. South Carolina going full capacity in the fall. Lonzo, football is football again, big dog.
So excited about that. And hopefully you will get a chance to go down there with that stadium at full capacity to see a game. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's not a question. It's happening. It's happening. The only drawback to this, though, is I have no doubt football tickets are about to get a lot more expensive, right? Because after a year of no football, there's going to be more than 77,500 plus that are going to want to rock that stadium out. It is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And I cannot, by the way, I got to tell you a quick funny story. I think you'll appreciate, Lonzo. A number of weeks ago, I was having a conversation. I was out with the girls. All right, don't ask me. Don't judge me. I don't want you to judge me. We were out with the girls, and one of them asked me a conversation because me and the lady friend are the only two in our little group that neither of us have ever been married before, right? So we got to talking about weddings somehow. Mimosas will do that to you. And they were like, hey, do dudes plan out their weddings? Like, do they have plans for weddings like women do? And I said, I only have one. I have one thing. I don't care anything about the ceremony, whatever. I have one thing that that will happen if a woman ever does enough drugs and alcohol to marry me. All right. One thing that will happen, which is when I walk into the reception, Lonzo, I'm coming in to Ric Flair's music with a Ric Flair robe on when I walk into my own reception, right? That's the only thing I want to happen. And then they were like, oh, what song is that? I went to my phone because, yes, I have wrestling theme songs downloaded on my phone. And I played Ric Flair's theme song. And a number of the women, including the lady friend, they're South Carolina fans, right? And they were like, this isn't Ric Flair's song. This is the song that the Gamecocks run out onto the field on football day. I had no idea that the Gamecocks came out to Ric Flair's music, Zoe. And I got to tell you, while
by the way,
neutral in the Palmetto State rivalry, that is a point to the Gamecock direction.
It is. It's an awesome thing, but it's not the Gamecock theme either. It's from 2001: Space Odyssey, one of the most boring movies of all time, although there are some cool moments on it, like open the pod bay doors, Hal. So, you know, those.
I can't do that.
Yes, and I knew you would go, and you do that voice so good. But yeah, when 2001 starts playing, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, cannot wait to experience that. My question now, Zoe, though I remain neutral in the Palmetto State rivalry, knowing that music is coming, do I get a garnet and black Ric Flair robe to wear to South Carolina games just to stand and turn in circles in the stands when that music plays?
you will be celebrated and lauded for such a thing. But it's pretty warm now. I mean, if you can handle that in the heat, go for it.
All right, and item number 3 in the lunch breakdown. It is good to be the king. Ladies and gentlemen, the SEC announced yesterday that they have sent an additional $23 million to each of its 14-member schools to help make up for financial losses because of COVID-19. The conference estimated an average shortfall of $45 million per athletic department within the conference. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey released a statement that said, quote, "The extraordinary circumstances produced by the global pandemic have presented colleges and universities with an unprecedented disruption to their programs and budgets. This supplemental revenue distribution will help ensure each SEC member will continue to provide high levels of support to its student athletes," end quote. The distribution tallies up to $322 million and will be paid for from future revenues generated through media rights beginning in 2025. The SEC said it expects its annual distributions in 25 and beyond to continue to increase even after a portion is used to fund the one-time payment. A new 10-year deal between the SEC and ESPN is set to begin in 2024. The conference said in a statement that each school can use its one-time distribution at its own discretion, albeit with the expectation that it would help, quote, "maintain each school's historically high standards for academic, athletic, medical, nutritional, and mental health support for their student athletes and help offset the significant costs associated with COVID testing during the 2020-2021 athletic school year. This immediate financial support will help our athletics programs address some of the current challenges they are facing while also ensuring each program remains well-positioned for future success. Thanks to years of responsible decision-making and unity, combined with unparalleled success, the SEC and its 14-member universities are uniquely prepared to navigate the COVID-19 pandemic and continue building on a remarkable legacy of achievement," end quote. I say that, Lonzo, I say that at a point in time where there are schools around the country that are cutting athletic departments because they can't make up the money. I am not judging nor condemning the SEC. I am applauding them for being able to do this. I just want SEC fans to recognize, Lonzo, how good they have it when their conference can send out $322 million in order to make up for COVID relief, while there are schools like Furman being forced to cut historical athletic department programs because they are not able to get a $23 million injection. The SEC is king, and that big fat paycheck proves it. All right. Go ahead, Zoe.
I was just going to say absolutely, but it's not really a surprise for a conference that, you know, has teams in championships all the time, especially football. I mean, and we know football is king, and that's where money comes from. And let's face it, Bama's there every other year winning the championship. So,
and there's a reason. The rich get richer, man. That's how the game goes. All right, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP. ESPN, Texas 71307 on the Ingles Market text line. Let's take a break. We're back right after this. Coming up at 12:35, Casey Milton from the Spartanburgers joins us on the show to talk about how that became to be and a whole lot more. I'm Rob. He's Zoe. Rob Red Shows on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
All right, let's see. Marvin says, no way, Chick-fil-A all day, then nobody. Wow. Marvin coming in here with the hip-hop burn, man. I like it. No way, Chick-fil-A all day, then nobody else. And Steven Rocket, you got the Spartanburger swag already, huh? My man. I got to pick mine up very soon. I'm waiting for the jerseys to drop. I don't really do baseball jerseys, right? I don't do baseball jerseys. Not that I'm against them. Fat guys don't look good in baseball jerseys. This is unfortunate but true. Fat guys don't look good in baseball jerseys. I have tried. They are made for the svelte, of which I am most certainly not one. So I've been waiting for the Spartan Burgers jersey to drop. I'm going to see if I can pull it off. But if not, I'll grab one of the T-shirts for sure. Had a good conversation with Casey yesterday about the Spartan Burgers. Really excited about getting him on. Appreciate you guys coming to hang out on the stream. Great to have you. Yeah, I think we're both we're both very much planning. Unfortunately, and I just found out yesterday, opening day is next Thursday, and I don't think I'm going to be able to make opening day, unfortunately. But Zoe and I have both discussed, and there's going to be some games we hit moving forward for sure. Pretty pumped about the Berg. The burgers, baby. The Patty Daddies.
All the merch that I've seen so far, Steven, looks really cool. And I would definitely like to make a purchase of said merch. It's just a matter of, do I order it or do I wait till we go to the stadium and buy it there? By the way, Rob, a couple of questions show related that I could ask off the air, but who cares? There was something scheduled at 1:20. Is it still scheduled at 1:20?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, 2:20, right?
I thought the email said 1:20.
Oh, yeah.
The second question was the 2:20, and yeah, so 1:20 and 2:20 still scheduled. Remember, 1:20 you have a guest schedule that you sent me an email about. We got time. I mean, you can let me know if something has changed.
Hey, Rob can read, so he says. Email Rob Brown at ESPNUpstate.com and we'll put him to the test. This is the Rob Brown Show, local sports talk on ESPN Upstate.
Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob. He is Lonzo. Couple of things. First and foremost, I will tell you that coming up, we're going to do something fun this evening. I have confirmed with Lonzo. I have confirmed with Diesel. Those two. You know what? I'm going to count it as breaking news. Coming up around 7:30 this evening. Make sure you're paying attention to our social media feeds. Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/ESPN Upstate, at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, at Diesel on Radio, at Mark Ryan on Air. Three of us are for sure in. Mark is likely going to join us. We were flabbergasted at the amount of attention that we got, at the amount of feedback we got about this UFO discussion. Like a ridiculous amount. We had somebody call the show and tell us that they had seen a UFO over at, what was it, Edisto,
yes.
On the air, and it was a fascinating story. We had a ton of text messages from people who were chiming in, but we don't necessarily want to devolve the show into a UFO show. I mean, we do, but we're not going to. So coming up at 7:30, for those of us for those of you that are interested, me, Lonzo, Diesel, and perhaps Mark Ryan are actually going to do a Facebook live stream where we will be talking about the prominence and the number of these UFOs that have been seen lately, giving our thoughts and having a full-on discussion instead of a quick little discussion that is based on, fitting it within a sports talk radio segment. We're going to do a live stream. So that way the Stick to Sports crowd, you don't have to listen if you don't want to, but for the millions, 10 millions of those of you who want to listen to us talk about UFOs, because why the hell not? We're going to go live around 7:30 this evening. So make sure you're following our social media feeds so you don't miss that. And yes, Lonzo, I am excited about it.
Well, you know what I'm looking forward to, because I don't know, and he may have mentioned it before, I don't know where Diesel stands on this. I've got a pretty good idea where Mark Ryan stands, and you and I have had discussions on the air and on the stream, so I already know kind of where each of us stands, but I have no idea how Diesel feels about that, and I can't wait to hear his views on it.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be good. It's good. I can promise you it's going to be entertaining. I can guarantee you it's going to be entertaining. You're going to want to make sure, again, follow us on our social media feeds at Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/ESPN Upstate, on Twitter at The Rob Brown Show, at Mark Ryan on Air, at Diesel on Radio, and at Lonzo on Word.
And by the way, be prepared to try to figure out who looks like they're actually broadcasting from the inside of a mothership.
All right, let's run to a break. When we come back here in just a minute right now, a young man by the name of Casey Milton is going to join us. Casey is the entertainment director for the Spartanburgers. He's going to join us right here on the Rob Brown Show to talk a little bit about how that team came to be. It's going to be a good conversation. I am looking forward to it. You will too. That's next on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say play ES.
Somebody just said on the Twitter feed, isn't Mark getting married this weekend? Did I miss a major announcement?
I had a joke there, but I'm not. I won't even say that joke.
Wow.
I wish him all the happiness in the world, and if he were to do that this weekend, good for him. Then all eyes will turn to Rob.
Rob is, I believe, the colloquial term, Lonzo, is not in a hurry. I've gotten to 36. What's a few more years? You know what I mean?
Gotta, get around to starting your brood. I know you don't want to have a brood, but
I do not want to have a brood.
You need a brood, man.
I need a brood. You know what I need? A 3-month trip to backpack Ireland and Scotland. Cage diving with great whites off of the Great Barrier Reef.
It sounds like a country song.
Me and my dog backpack in Ireland.
No, not I went skydiving. I went whatever. I don't know what that. Yeah. Unfortunately, I heard it in the bathroom or something. I would never listen to that.
Said, unfortunately, I went. Was it 3.7 seconds on a boom man named? I don't remember the song. It's been years. And also, I once again am apologizing to you for singing on the stream. It was unintentional.
I'm sure you gave me the right number because it ended up being Raymond James.
Raymond, like actual Raymond James or like Raymond James Stadium?
Well, he said his name was Raymond James.
That is incorrect. Let me pull it straight from his email.
And we're coming back. My bad.
That's all good. I'll send it to you.
Everybody has one. Call 844-GSP-ESPN. Local sports talk on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Yeah, because those two numbers are very similar.
Significantly different. So a little bit of a goof, but we're going to get Casey Milton, the entertainment director for the Spartan Burgers, on the phone here in just a second and bring him up to chat a little bit about where that team is. Let me know when he's good to go, Lonzo, and we'll get Casey on the show. Very excited about the Spartan Burgers. Very excited about the Spartan Burgers. Look, what's interesting about this club, this team, is, and I think this is a good thing, right? Like, we have 3 very competitive professional franchises here in the area. We've got the Drive, who are obviously very good. We've got the Triumph, which are your reigning, defending, undisputed USL League One champs. And we've got the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, who are a playoff team. 3 very good teams. The Spartan Burgers are kind of like a developmental league team, and they are one that is based on putting on a show. They're one that's based on putting on a show. They're one that's based on entertainment and entertaining, and it's absolutely fantastic. So we are very excited to welcome them to the mix, and we do so now. To the phone lines we go. And welcome in a gentleman I had the pleasure of speaking to for the first time yesterday, as we are going to, I hope, start a very close working relationship with the newest professional team here in the area. They are the Spartan Burgers. He is Mr. Casey Milton, the director of entertainment for the club. Casey, my man, I appreciate you taking a few minutes. Welcome to the show, big dog. How's life?
Hey, life's good, man. Earning and burning every day, just snapping necks, cashing checks in a figurative sense. How are you?
Dude, Zoe, did you hear? Casey came in here cutting promos like The Rock, ready to burn the joint down. Casey, you and I and Zoe are going to get along just fine if you're going to walk up in here with that kind of energy every day, big dog.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Been a wrestling fan since the 90s, but that's the only energy I try to bring.
You hear that, Mark Ryan? You hear that, Mark? Nobody watches wrestling, Ryan? Yet another one in the fold.
I'm sure Casey doesn't know who Mark Ryan is, but that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
So Zoe and I are wrestling fans. Our afternoon show counterparts, Mark Ryan and Diesel, who you will speak with at some point, I'm sure, are both convinced that grown men do not watch wrestling. So every time we get another stellar example of successful professionals joining the group like you, we just have to rub it into their face a little bit. So A, thank you, and B, welcome to the Rob Brown Show family. You're going to fit right in, big guy.
Oh, 100%. I mean, don't you radio guys, pay attention to metrics? I believe AEW was the #1 cable program during their time slot last week.
Look at my guy. Not only does he come in here talking wrestling, Zoe, but he comes in here bringing hot takes on the show.
Yeah, yes, he does. Blood and Guts went really well for them, and Chris Jericho is all over the place, letting everybody know for sure that they were #1. Like I heard it like 10,000 times. So
I love it. All right, Casey Milton, the entertainment director for the Spartan Burgers, and wanted to ask you a couple things, but I wanted to start, Casey. I wanted to start by asking a little bit about the story of the team. I mean, there have been news articles done about it, and TV news segments done about it, and all that. But since we get a little bit more long format, a little more time to play with, if you don't mind, and give the version you're comfortable with, but can you tell us a little bit about how the Spartan Burgers came to be? There was a relocation from North Carolina down to South Carolina. Questions about what the name of the team was going to be. Obviously came up with one that we absolutely love, which is why we decided we had to get this relationship going. But from your perspective, being with the club, can you give us a little bit of the story about how the Spartan Burgers came to be?
Right. So the team moved down from Gastonia, formerly the Grizzlies, and it just the city went in a different direction than just the team. They aligned themselves with the Atlantic League, which is perfectly fine. Last year was supposed to be the one final show for the Gastonia Grizzlies. Obviously, things didn't turn out like that. So team just kind of decided to just move on and really go for greener pastures, those greener pastures being the upstate. When you look at it, Spartanburg in the business sense is one of the largest markets that did not have a summer collegiate baseball team. And then in, the more emotional and historic sense, the history of baseball in Spartanburg is just so vast that it's almost just criminal to America's pastime that this city has not had a baseball team, in the past, I think, since almost the better part of the 2000s.
Casey Milton's the entertainment director for the Spartan Burgers, who will get their first season, their inaugural season, kicked off next week over there in Spartanburg. So what's the reception been like? I talked to you a little bit yesterday, Casey, and told you that, we brought you guys up on the show when the team name was announced, just because Lonzo and I both, as big boys, we loved the name, the mascot, which the name I believe has been announced as Patty Daddy. We love everything from the marketing side of this team so far. What has the reaction been like in the Berg between you guys and the community?
So when you think of the name, it's so great. One, it's a good pun. It's a name that makes you smile. And just in like the marketing sense, it's a name you have to say the whole thing. You're not just going to shorten it to Burgers. It's like Adele, A Tribe Called Quest, the artist formerly known as Prince. You have to say Spartan Burgers. And so everyone, the best part about the name is it'll incite a reaction. It's mostly been positive. People really love it. The merch has been great, just well received. The ones who don't, though, and that's okay. Hopefully we'll be able to grab them and entertain them. But as you know, especially with performing and wrestling, the only bad reaction is no reaction. And I don't think Spartan Burgers really invokes that.
Casey Milton, the entertainment director for the Spartan Burgers, joining us here on the show. Talk to me about the relationship with the community. I've said, Casey, a number of times since I moved here to Greenville a little over a year ago and to the upstate, and obviously the majority of the teams we cover are over towards us here in the Ville. But one thing that I have genuinely appreciated about the teams we have over here, the Greenville Triumph, the soccer team in the USL League One, the Greenville Drive, the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, one thing that is a priority for all of those clubs is building a relationship with the community. It's involvement, it's giving back, it's making sure the fans feel like they are a part of the process. If you go downtown, you will see the Greenville Drive in different places doing different things. The Greenville Triumph put up billboards and send their players out to go coach and work with youth clubs. It's a really cool community relationship between the teams and the fans in that area. And it seems to me like you guys are kind of trying to build that same relationship over in Spartanburg.
100%. Even just as the business sense, we want to be business leaders within the community. But you go back to the emotional side. I'm a Charlotte resident, and I came down and moved to the upstate, and it's just been so enlightening to be a part of a community that really wants to build itself back up, from the pandemic and even before, where businesses and business leaders really want to help each other out and lift each other up. And for us, we just want to be ingrained in that as possible. Obviously, we're going to have some local staff, but our PA announcer, Mike Vaughn, is the PA announcer for the Greenville Triumph. We really want to have that reach as well. We're going to be really honoring the history of baseball in Spartanburg. We're going to be wearing Sluggers jerseys this season to represent that historic part of baseball in Spartanburg. Those jerseys are going to be live auctioned in game, and all proceeds from those sales will go to local charities and initiatives. So it's stuff where we're going to be trying to ingrain as much as possible. We have local breweries coming out and serving their beer with RJ Rockers. So everything that we're doing is to be a part of not only Spartanburg, but the upstate as well.
Casey Milton, the entertainment director for the Spartanburgers, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Casey, I want to do this. Do you mind? Do you have enough time to hang through a break and talk to us a little more on the other side?
Oh, I always have time for you, sir.
Listen, dude, I got to tell you, Lonzo, I think we may have a one of our new
except for
on the show.
Except for the sir spot. That's not necessary. But I appreciate the politeness, though.
Listen, of the things that my guests have called me in the past, Lonzo, I'm gonna let sir slide. Casey Milton is the entertainment director for the Spartanburgers. We got to take a real quick break. When we come back on the other side, we'll continue talking to him a little bit about exactly what type of game the Spartanburgers are going to play, the team they are fielding, etc. That's all coming up next. Stick around for the back half of that interview next on The Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
Golf card.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
The Upstate golf card is on sale now. Limited supplies. Get them quick. With that card, you are going to get greens fees at 9 of the most prestigious and beautiful courses around the Upstate. That is over $450 worth of golf. You are getting it for $99. It's less than $15 around, less than $1 a hole. There is not a better deal for the club swingers of the Upstate than the Upstate golf card. But you got to get yours now. Go to upstategolfcard.com to learn more about it. Go to upstategolfcard.com to get the details, and go to upstategolfcard.com to buy one for you, your friends, your family. They make for incredible gifts. We got Father's Day around the corner. Take Pops out to swing the sticks a little bit, but get it now. It's the 2021 Upstate Golf Card, upstategolfcard.com. So, my man Casey is good, huh?
Absolutely. You do. You know that was final break, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was making sure you weren't confused and thinking that was yeah.
No, that's why I took in a break. Still, we can fit the golf cart in, but not give ourselves like an 8-second final segment there. Their hashtag, and I am absolutely going to get him to say it on air, Keegan. The hashtag that the Spartanburgers are going with is hashtag Beef Boy Summer. And you would better believe that I am working that tag into the next segment. As a beef boy, so I don't know if you saw my my tweets yesterday, Lonzo. Stained, Limp Bizkit, and Korn are all playing shows this year.
Yeah, Limp Bizkit was on Twitter trending topics yesterday. We just didn't get to it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Bring them up on today's edition, even if they're not trending anymore. It's been a long time since I felt my white teenage upper middle class angst showing. You know, back when I was full of rage and anger at the world.
Yeah, I'm glad that's all gone. Still don't see myself going to one of those concerts, but you know, 1 minute.
I wasn't a huge Stain fan. I like Stain. I wasn't a huge fan, but Limp Bizkit, I would. If Limp Bizkit goes on tour and comes around here, I will be front row.
If I had to pick between the two, I would go with Stained. But
I can see that. That seems more your speed.
Yeah, it's more melancholy, dark, and you know that kind of stuff. Limp Bizkit might be a little too much energetic for me.
Words that describe Lonzo.
Yes.
And brooding. The Batman.
Melancholic. Don't forget that.
By the way, I rewatched that trailer for Batman 2021. I'm kind of digging the look, man. Like, I'm kind of digging the look. I wasn't super on board with Robert Pattinson, but I'm kind of digging the look.
Yeah, well, the toy line has just been released and spoiled some things, and one of which it might be on Twitter trending topics. We got 20 seconds.
The look of the Riddler?
Yes.
Yes. Also, I apparently spend too much time on Twitter. Yes, the Ram Jam Black Betty knockoff. I like it. Welcome back. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the ESPN Upstate Rob, Lonzo, you, and we are joined for a few more minutes by Casey Milton, the entertainment director for the Spartanburgers. Now, Casey, I forgot to ask you the question that has been on our airwaves for the last couple of days, and it is this. The rash of UFO sightings we've been seeing the last few days, where do you stand? Are they man-made and government projects that have been covered up? Are they extraterrestrial alien visitors or something else? Where are you falling on all this UFO talk lately?
So Rob Brown Show hit me with a hard question.
Hard-hitting questions
no.
out the gate, Casey.
Yes, sir. So, no. So Tommy DeLonge, the lead singer of Blink-182, he has been on this for decades now. I side with him. I am a military veteran. I know those reports to be true. You see a lot of those released Navy intelligence reports they confirm they're not man-made, or they at least do not know what they are. And I trust that reporting. I think those are extraterrestrial.
Casey Milton coming out of the gate strong in his debut appearance on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. All right, the other hard-hitting question that I have to ask you about, And my, one of our P1s, Keegan and I, we fell in love with the hashtag Beef Boy Summer. That is brilliant. Did you come up with that? And if you didn't, you should take full credit. But great hashtag. Where did that come from? Because I want it printed on a T-shirt, Casey Milton.
Oh, so you're talking to the right guy. I manage all 3 social media channels. I'm the guy who is giving you every player's 3rd favorite color. And then, yes, I came up with that. We are the Beef Boys of Summer. We're always throwing heat and meat. And then you just gave me another T-shirt idea because I'm that guy as well. No, I came up with that. And what I want for this team is just a fun energy and honestly, just a lot of meat puns as well.
Let's go. Dude, I am loving everything about the Spartan Burgers. As trade-off for the T-shirt idea, I just need one in extra large. Color's up to you. I'm good with that.
Easy day. We might send that in our trade patented razzmatazz, which is one of our official colors. It's just fun to say.
Let's go. Casey Milton, Entertainment Director for the Spartan Burgers, joining us on the show here on ESPN Upstate. So one of the things that I have been fascinated by is that you guys, we go with the Spartan Burgers name, which is great. And the puns are there. It's absolutely fantastic. But you guys are doing a phenomenal job and I guess you are doing a phenomenal job of working the social media to grab attention, doing what you can do out in front of the public eye, and making sure that there is that fan involvement. And you told me yesterday, and I don't want to make it sound like a negative too, but it's because it's not. But you guys are focused as much on the entertainment side of things as you are on the developmental baseball side of things. Talk to me a little bit about the mindset of the team in that direction.
Oh, 100%. And I would say it's just my responsibility to delve into the entertainment side of things. But we do have Coach Wes Brown, the Spartanburg High School coach, and he is full on with developmental. He is a great coach, great asset to have on the team. So it always is about getting those players, giving them the chance to compete with wood bats. But for me, my charge is to make this a fun and entertaining environment. There are going to be baseball fans who just want to come, get their scorecard, get their pencil, and watch the game and jot notes. And we're going to have that. But we also want, just friends to come out to the ballpark to enjoy a beer, enjoy the sunshine, laugh, and hey, there's a baseball game going on too. And it's the same thing where we want a good environment for families to bring their kids, that they're going to be entertained. We have kids at a baseball game. If you've ever taken young ones to a game, they may love the first 2 innings, but kind of after that, they lose interest. So what we want to do is keep them engaged, keep them laughing, keep them having fun, so the family enjoys that better, and just do it in a different way.
Casey Milton, the entertainment director for the Spartan Burgers, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN. Say, talk to me a little bit about the level of baseball, because I think this is one thing that a lot of folks don't necessarily have exposure to, which is this kind of summer collegiate league, the goal, the style, etc. Talk to me a little bit about the level of baseball that you guys will be playing at.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of just sports fans in general will have heard of the Cape Cod League, which is a summer collegiate league. And the Coastal Plain League is just exactly like that. And what it's meant to do is give young college players a chance to gain reps in the summer, possibly up their draft stock. And a lot of times, this is going to be the first time in these kids' lives that they're playing competitive baseball with wooden bats. Throughout most of their lives, they're going to be playing with aluminum. We have players from all around the country, and a lot of local players, in fact, will come to these teams and these leagues and just represent for the summer, have fun, get better, and entertain.
We are talking with Casey Milton. He is the entertainment director for the Spartan Burgers. And it's always, it's tough. It's the first time, Casey, that I've ever had a team that is not city or state name followed by team name. It's just the Spartan Burgers. We say it's like Adele. It's like Madonna. It's a first name and only name kind of thing. I love the feel. I love the brand, man. I am pumped to get you guys going and playing over there in Spartanburg. Cannot wait to get over and take in a game. Cannot wait to rock the Heat and Meat t-shirt. It's going to be fantastic. The Beef Boy, everything you guys are doing are great. Looking forward to be a part of it, man. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for doing what you're doing in the Berg, and looking forward to working with you guys moving forward, Casey.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. One, thank you for having me on. We're really happy to develop these relationships. Just we want to get out as much as possible just so we could get people out to the ballpark and entertain and lift each other up after this past year. Have a good laugh, cold beer, sunshine, some fresh cut grass, sights and sounds of the game. Crack of the bat is probably the top sound in all of sports, right above just a swoosh in basketball. But we want people to come out and experience that. And so thank you for helping us facilitate and grow.
Absolutely, man. Happy to do it. Love being able to talk sports in the community. And I will take that hashtag Beef Boy Summer shirt in Razzmatazz, man. Looking forward to picking it up at a game one day. Thank you, Casey. Appreciate it, Bubba.
Hey, appreciate your time. You take care. Be well.
Will do. That's Casey Milton. He is the entertainment director for the Spartanburgers over there in the Berg. And Zoe, if I wasn't pumped for another baseball season to keep an eye on, Casey just sold it like Dolph Ziggler taking a kick, sold it.
And another one of ours.
Oh, yeah.
Another one of the boys.
Another one of the boys. For the boys, you gotta love it. Quick break. Hour 2 just around the corner. Rashad Beer of the Panther Podcast joins us next on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
Number.
That's right. You need Rashad's. Hold, please. And I have not heard back from our senior salute the seniors guest. So if I don't before the next segment, Zoe, then we will just call, and if they can't do it, they can tell us they can't do it.
For me.
In your DMs.
Rashad standing by.
Perfect. Nakatomi Tower is live.
That almost makes me want to play that game.
Dude, cannot wait.
Warning.
Man, check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally from the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob and Lonzo here with you on the show. Welcome in. Great to be back with you on the big stick. To the phone lines we go to welcome in a young man that sits with us every Thursday at 1 o'clock to talk a little Carolina Panther football. He is the host of the Panther Nation podcast. You can watch them stream live every Monday and at other times during the week on YouTube by searching Panther Nation podcast, or follow them on Twitter at Panther Nation PC. He is my dude, Rashad Beard, joining us here on the show. Rashad, what's up, brother? How we feeling, man?
I'm doing good. What's going on, Rob? So, my guys.
Good to be back with you, brother. Good to have you back on the show. So let's start with this. We are going through rookie camps. We got the rookie camps working around the league right now. The Panthers, no different. I'm kind of in this weird spot, Rashad, because on one hand, this is where I want the news, right? I want to know what the rookies are doing. I want to see what direction Matt Rule is heading in right now. But for the last week, for the most part, it's been relatively quiet. I hesitate to use the word big, but the only big story we've had recently, Rashad, was Teddy Bridgewater complaining about the practices of Matt Rule. Matt Rule saying, well, I'm disappointed he feels that way, but I'm happy with it, etc. Good news or bad news to you that for the most part, the Panthers are out of the spotlight right this very second?
Yeah, I think no news is always good news. It could be far, far worse. We could be hearing about injuries. I know across the league, there's been some guys dealing with injuries. So I think no news is good news. I think the last real bit of news we've gotten was the rookies getting the numbers and a little bit of uproar on Panthers Twitter about Terrace Marshall taking number 88. So that's really it. I think that's a good thing. No news is always good news when it comes to the Panthers, especially in the offseason. Like I said, could be much worse. Could be talking about injuries. So I'm happy with the no news.
Yeah. So we're looking right now at a 90-man roster. I want to talk. Let's start at the backup quarterback position. 4 QBs on the roster right now: Sam Darnold, PJ Walker, Will Grier, Tommy Stevens. We know Tommy Stevens was kind of interesting. Tommy Stevens, a converted tight end / quarterback, can play both. A lot of folks felt like when Tommy Stevens got picked up by Carolina, it was just kind of a troll job on the New Orleans Saints. Tommy Stevens was a guy that Sean Payton was very interested in, maybe to use him in kind of a Taysom Hill type position where he can play some quarterback lineup around the field. Have you heard, is Tommy Stevens a threat to make this roster legitimately as a backup quarterback / utility player? Or was this more of just a let's see what happens kind of deal?
No, I think he's a legit threat to make the roster. I mean, I just did a video yesterday on the top 5 guys that need to keep their heads on the swivel this offseason just because their roster spots are going to be in danger. And Will Grier was, in fact, one of those guys. And I say that because Will Grier was not chosen by Matt Rule. He's not a hand-picked guy like Tommy Stevens, like PJ Walker, now like Sam Darnold. So also just to add to that, this roster is now comprised of 82% of Matt Rule's picks. It's now 82% of his guys that he's had a hand in picking. And so the more that it happens and the more roster turnover there is, those guys that aren't impact players like a Christian McCaffrey, like a Brian Burns, like a Taylor Moton, if you're not that level of player on this roster from a previous regime, then you really need to have your head on the swivel. You need to be performing very well because they're bringing their guys in. Like you said, Tommy Stevens is the guy he's essentially our Taysom Hill. He's our Taysom Hill, and I think Joe Brady's going to know how to use him. He's going to know how to get those packages in there and have specific plays for him. So I think he is a legit threat to make this roster 100% due to that.
Talking to Rashad Beard. He is the host of the Panther Nation podcast, your home for everything you need to know about the Panthers. One thing that can, I meant to ask you this last week, Rashad, and it slipped my brain, and I got it on my show prep today. Matt Rule has, I think, done an absolutely phenomenal job of turning those folks, myself included, to be up front, who were not on board with the hiring around. I am on board now. I think the guy has got promise and potential, but there is one big question mark floating over his resume right now, and that is back-to-back quarterback projects. I think a lot of us considered Teddy Bridgewater more of a placeholder. Matt Rule called him a project to get him to being a starting quarterback. Sam Darnold, same situation. And you mentioned the other guys on his list are developmental quarterbacks. P.J. Walker, Tommy Stevens specifically. Will Grier, like you mentioned, not one of his picks. If none of these quarterbacks work out, Sam Darnold included, what is going to be the thought process for the front office and for the fans about Matt Rule? Will they trust him if he swings and whiffs on basically 4 quarterbacks that he has handpicked?
I mean, that's a valid question mark in all of our brains right now. You've had a chance to pick your guys. You've got Sam Darnold now. You've gotten P.J. Walker. None of these guys are going to be that type of elite quarterback that you need to be successful in this league if the rest of your team is not like perfect. And so I feel like, yeah, there are concerns. There's valid concerns about it. He's never worked with an elite quarterback. I mean, even going back to his Giants days when he was around Eli Manning, I mean, it's debatable. I know he's 2-time Super Bowl champ, but he had a lot of help around him. Is he even that level of quarterback? And so, like, he's never been around it. So does he even know what it looks like? Does he even know how to evaluate it? Valid question mark. And I have that same concern. And I think that, listen, if he doesn't get it right, I think Tepper knows what an elite quarterback is, and he wants it. I mean, the QB thirst is what I call it, has been on display for a long time. Since Tepper's been around, you ousted Cam, and the QB thirst has been on display since then. Okay, we were about to offer a contract and trade for Matt Stafford. I think, and Matt Stafford is not a great elite quarterback. And so we're trying to find that guy, and I just don't know that there's going to be an excuse for Matt Rule if he continues to miss on these guys. He's really got, and that's a great segue into something I'm working on now. One of my new videos I'm working on is guys that need to watch their back. Again, like guys on the hot seat. Matt Rule will be one of those guys due to that. If you can't get this quarterback situation right, and you can't get this team to a successful winning season, then you're going to be in trouble.
Rashad Beard throwing Matt Rule on the hot seat already, ... kind of. We're going to be keeping an eye on that situation. Let's talk running backs for just a second. We all know it's Christian McCaffrey's team. No doubt about it. Best player on the team. There's some other names back there. Trenton Cannon, Reggie Bonifant, Chuba Hubbard, the 4th round pick. A lot of folks think he's a reach, but I've been hearing good things out of Charlotte so far. And obviously Chuba built a little different. He's more of a bowling ball, very dense guy, but a really good pass-catching running back as well. Zoe and I were talking a little bit about this earlier in the week, in that Chuba gives you a different style of running back than CMC, but he doesn't limit what you can do with the football. If he develops, doesn't limit what you can do on the football field. If you throw him out there in a 3rd down, you can still utilize him as a pass-catching running back. You can line him up as a bruiser and then send him out on a wheel route and line him up, get him one-on-one with an outside linebacker who doesn't have the speed. The more that I hear out of Charlotte, the more I watch his development, the more I'm really liking Chuba Hubbard as a second option behind Run CMC. Are you coming around to join me, Rashad, or are you still pushing the doubt button?
Hey, listen, I'm still doubting it until I see it. Listen, Christian McCaffrey is a guy that's being paid $16 million a year. He's the highest paid running back on average yearly. And you don't pay a man that much money to then reduce the amount of touches you give him. It just doesn't work that way. You can't do that. And so I feel like the ideal scenario would be to kind of have them both on the field at the same time, right? Can you put CMC in the slot more? Sure. That's on Joe Brady. We've got to figure it out. I like Chuba, but I just think that I'm not convinced that they're going to be able to give him the amount of touches that he needs to justify the pick. I'm still not convinced. I'll believe it when I see it. But CMC is the man. And if he's healthy, he looks good, he's going to dominate this backfield. And as he should, right? You paid him to be the highest paid running back in the league. You don't pay him that amount of money and then reduce his snaps. I'm not a fan of that. So again, it's a delicate balance they're going to have to figure out. But again, I'm not trying to take away anything from Chuba. I think he's a great player. I think it's needed. We need another running back. I think you look at a successful teams in the league, they don't run their offense around a running back. They have multiple running backs. They get them all involved. So again, I love the pick if we're going to use them properly, but I just don't see it happening.
Rashad Beer from the Panther Nation podcast joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. All right, real quick, I'm going to give you a list of names. And then I'm going to ask you where one Panther fits in it. All right? Terry McLaurin, Odell Beckham Jr., Kenny Golladay, Corey Davis, Jarvis Landry, Tyler Lockett, Cole Beasley, Antonio Brown, Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, Devontae Parker, Cortland Sutton, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, Tyler Boyd. That is number 19 through 32 of the 32 best wide receivers in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. DJ Moore, not on that list, despite leading the NFL in contested catches on throws 20 yards or more down the field in 2020. Did Pro Football Focus insult DJ Moore by leaving him off of that list, Rashad?
100%. I mean, DJ Moore is a great player. I mean, he's put up, 3 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. And listen, the guy is a great player, man. And I think he gets often overlooked because of the quarterback throwing to him, right? Because he doesn't have a good quarterback or an elite quarterback throwing to him, he gets overlooked. And had he had a good quarterback, consistent quarterback play, I think he would get way more shine than he does. Very similar to Steve Smith back in the day. Steve Smith had the average quarterbacks below average quarterbacks before he got Jake Delhomme. And he was overlooked. And so that's just the nature of the beast. When you come to Carolina, we're not a big market team. And so we're going to get overlooked. And that's fine. And PFF has their own metrics. We've had interviews with guys from PFF, and they know that their metrics are flawed. Some of their metrics that they collect are just flat out flawed. They're wrong. And they got to come up with a better, consistent method. And I feel like DJ Moore should absolutely be in that list 100%. He's a top 32 receiver in this league. Easily.
Rashad Beard joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. All right, we got a couple of questions for you, Rashad, that have come in on our Ingalls Market text line at 71307. One says, Taysom Hill, Tommy Stevens, Tim Tebow, a new breed of hybrid tight end. Will this be a trend? I will narrow that down to Carolina. I know we talked about him a couple of minutes ago, but you mentioned Tommy Stevens there on the Carolina Panthers, the guy that Matt Rule brought in. Some folks thought it was just a troll job of the Saints who Sean Payton expressed that he wanted him. Some people believe that he might be utilized as a Taysom Hill, Tim Tebow kind of guy who can play 3 different spots. Will we see him trying out that Taysom Hill role, or will they keep him safe on the sideline in case they got to go to a third-string QB?
No, I think you'll see him. We saw Tommy Stevens last year. I think in Week 17 he came out and played and I think he threw the football a couple of times. So I think that, yeah, for sure. I think you're going to see him in that Taysom Hill role. Again, it's easy to connect the dots, right? Taysom Hill, Saints, Joe Brady came from the Saints. I think it's obvious that they're going to find a couple ways to get him the ball. He's got a full offseason now. Remember, when we got him, it was later in the season last year. So they didn't have a full opportunity to implement how they want to use him. And so I think that now that he's going to have a full offseason, they're going to start to implement a couple packages, and you'll probably see him at goal line, probably taking some quarterback draws or something like that, and he'll run the football in. I think some of those short yardage plays for sure, you'll see him. But I absolutely think that he's going to make the roster for sure. I just believe that because he's one of the guys that Joe Brady has a connection with. They wanted him prior to the Saints picking him up, and I think it was a bit of a troll job. It's a reverse troll job, right? Because we wanted him initially. We were going to pick him up in the 7th round. Then Sean Payton and you guys picked him up, and then you released him. Then we picked him back up. So it's kind of a reverse troll job with the Tommy Stevens scenario. But yeah, man, I think he's definitely we're going to see him for sure. We're going to see him for sure next season.
Rashad Beard joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Second question. And look, I don't think there's a way to answer this, Rashad. I think it's one we got to stick a question mark out to. But I'll let you take a crack at it. We had a texter write in and say, can McCaffrey stay healthy, or is he the Derrick Rose of the NFL now?
Oh, man, the Derrick Rose of the NFL.
I know, that hurt
is
a little bit, didn't it?
Hurt just a tad. Man, connecting that's tough. I certainly hope not, man. I certainly hope he is not a Derrick Rose, bro. But yeah, I hope he stays healthy. I don't know. Listen, the guy really takes care of his body. You see him working out. He's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. He's into Bruce Lee and all this stuff. So I think that I'm hoping that was just a one-off. Again, I think he needed the break. The Stanford touches, all the touches that from his rookie season just added up, and I just think he needed a break. He got that break last year, and now I think he comes back healthy. I think he's going to be good. And again, I think if he's healthy, you're going to see CMC touch the ball a lot. And so I don't think they're going to try. I think they're going to say they're going to try to protect him, but when the football game is on the line, CMC is not coming off the field. He's going to be in the game. So I really think that as long as he's healthy, as long as he's taking care of his body, I think it might have been a little bit of a wake up call for him. Saying, hey, I gotta do this. Gotta take care of my body a little bit better. And so we'll see what happens. But I hope he stays healthy, and I'm hoping he's not Derrick Rose. That one, I don't like that. I gotta erase that from memory. I really don't like that comparison. But yeah, that's a tough one.
Rashad Beard is the host of the Panther Nation podcast. You can find them on Twitter at Panther Nation PC, but follow them on YouTube as well. They go live every Monday and at other points in time around just to keep it interesting. My man, Rashad, it's always great stuff, brother. I appreciate it very, very much. Go and get in touch with you because we are 100% hitting that Saints-Panthers game up. You know it's happening, and I'm looking forward to it, big guy.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Appreciate the opportunity to come on every week. This is always fun talking Panthers football, and we got to get you to convert one day, man. Hopefully we'll get you to convert, put on the good old blue and black, and you'll be good to go at that point.
Man, I am happy to bend over backwards to talk some Panthers, but the fleur-de-lis is tattooed on my back, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. You know what I mean?
I hear you with it. Hey, it's going to happen. I got you. We're going to work on it.
Rashad, the optimist. I love it. Rashad Beard joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. We'll do it again next week. Thank you very much. Quick break. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, powered by The Score. College baseball this weekend for Clemson. They are matched up against Duke. Game 1 tonight.
I'm sorry, I didn't have any cue.
Saturday, Mac England is set to get the start in the series opener today, and then Keyshawn Askew would pitch in Game 2 tomorrow. No announced starter yet for Game number 3.
Let me make sure it's the right person.
South Carolina baseball got challenged this weekend as they match up against Tennessee.
Aubrey?
South Carolina will have Brandon Jordan on the mound this evening. Other college baseball this weekend for Wofford. They are set to match up against Mercer, and Coastal Carolina. They are in action this weekend as they take on Texas State. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Heads up, high school administrators, teachers, parents, and classmates. The class of 2021 had to overcome big challenges. ESPN Upstate and Benson Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Greer are recognizing our local grads who deserve to celebrate their achievements and bright futures with Salute to Seniors 2021. Submit your nominees now at espnupstate.com. It's as easy as submitting a photo, short bio, and contact info. We're shining the light on our best and brightest. The Upstate Salute to Seniors, powered by Healthy Blue and Old South Trading Company and ESPN Upstate.
Introducing the Lowe's List. While there's innovation in every aisle, these are some of our experts' top picks for 2021. Customize any load with the Whirlpool 2-in-1 washer. Control your home with a touch, thanks to Samsung Connected Appliances. Repel the rain with HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Everlast. And keep the job going longer with the exclusive new line of Flex Power Tools, made for pros. To see who made the full Lowe's list, visit Lowe's.com. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility.
When the doctor told us about my mom's cancer, it made me feel so helpless. Until I called the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and spoke with Greg.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Keegan, you've done it. You pointed it out that I left it playing again. I quit. Walking out the door, I quit. I can't handle the pressure anymore. Busy watching Phil on a hill. Going over the green.
Big fan of Cameron Grimes showing a Ted DiBiase lowlights film.
That was nice. By the way, just to let you know ahead of time, I did not watch AEW.
Don't worry.
I forgot. Because of basketball.
Because of basketball. It happens.
You going to get to that game eventually?
What game?
The basketball last night, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that was a pretty good ending.
Next segment. LeBron just out there doing LeBron stuff, that's all. Knocking down clutch threes, taking over the game late. Grimes having a seizure in the ropes after getting kicked in the face.
She is standing by. $30 seconds.
30 seconds. back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob Lonzo with you, and we are doing once again this year something that Stowe and I both very much enjoy doing. It is our 2021 Salute to Seniors, where we are acknowledging the hard work of the graduating seniors from around the upstate. And joining us on the show today, a very special guest from Woodmont High School, Aubrey Magee, joins us here on the show. Aubrey, it is great to talk to you. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for joining us. So Aubrey is graduating from Woodmont, a 3.8 GPA. And before I ask you anything else, Aubrey, I have to ask you this. The last couple of years have been crazy, right? I mean, absolutely crazy. I'm sure you, like most of the seniors, have had to deal with e-learning and working from home and having school days canceled and all that kind of stuff. What has the last year been like for you? And was it difficult for you to kind of be able to not just continue school, but to be so successful at it?
It was much of a struggle. Definitely whenever it got towards the end of the school year, the communications between the students and teachers was a struggle. Definitely keeping assignments turned in on time and trying to find the time to turn them in between work and school. It was also hard. So yeah, it's been really difficult.
Last year when we did this, we were talking to a lot of seniors that, they really spent their senior year with most everything canceled. You guys at least got a little bit back to normal, but I kind of almost think in a way, Aubrey, it might be a little bit more difficult, especially when you've got some days that you're in school, some days that you're out of school. And for students like you who are also trying to work and hold down a job and get themselves prepared for college or their next step in their career and all that, how has that been to kind of try to balance the social life and the school life when still dealing with the tail end of this pandemic? Has it been tough for you?
Yes, it has.
Talk to me a little bit about that. What did you find? What were you doing? Was there anything any new skills you had to teach yourself? Anything that you had to learn about yourself in order to not just finish school, but to be really successful at it?
Something that I've learned personally was just to keep trying. I've learned that you'll never succeed at your goals if you don't try. So definitely trying to turn assignments in and then balancing my work schedule out with school was what kept me going.
I love it. Aubrey Magee from Woodmont High School joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate in our 2021 Salute to Seniors. So graduating with a 3.8, that is really, really impressive. Talk to us a little bit. What were some of your favorite things in school to study? What were some of your favorite things to keep your focus on? Since you, from what we can tell, you got a pretty good idea of what you want to do when you get out of college. What were some of the things that you like to do that you think kind of help push you in that direction?
Definitely my inspiration to become a certified esthetician is what kept me going.
And why was that your choice? Why? Because we got your nomination from your mom, who wrote in and said that you were had career goals of being a esthetician or going into therapy and or nursing. What was it that pushed you in that direction? What do you like about those career paths that have made them interesting to you?
Personally, whenever I found the aesthetics program, I fell in love with the skincare portion of it, because it is a combination of skincare, makeup, special effects, etc. But I fell in love mostly with the skincare section just because I wanted to boost the confidence of others and make people feel good in their own skin.
I love it.
And that really pushed me and kept me going.
I love it. So you'll be graduating from Donaldson Career Center as a licensed esthetician. Future career goals include going to college and majoring in massage therapy and or nursing and working in a dermatologist's office, which is pretty cool because you're talking about a career where you help other people gain confidence and feel better in their old skin, which is something that, anybody will tell you. You've got to be confident. You got to feel comfortable in your own skin to be successful. And you are literally taking a job where you help people move towards that career goal. I think that's super commendable, Aubrey, and it's awesome that you're pushing in that direction. What is your, when you move towards that, is that kind of what made you most interested in doing that job, doing that career?
Yes.
I love it. I love her. Aubrey Magine is from Woodmont High School, graduating with a 3.8 GPA, heading to graduating from Donaldson Career Center as a licensed esthetician. She is a fantastic young lady. Aubrey, we appreciate your time. Listen, congratulations. I know the last couple of years have been super difficult, super interesting, but you are very admirable in the way that you got through, not just got through, but thrived and succeeded. We are very proud of you. I know that your mom is very proud of you. So congratulations to you, and good luck to you in the future moving forward.
Thank you.
You are most welcome. You are most welcome. That is Aubrey Magine and our 2021 Salute to Seniors. If you have a high school senior that you would like to nominate and hear them live right here on ESPN Upstate, go to espnupstate.com. Right there on the front page, you can nominate your graduating high school seniors. We've got an application to tell us all about what they did, how they thrived, how they succeeded, and we want to pay tribute to your 2021 graduating senior in our Salute to Seniors. Quick break. When we come back, last night's NBA play-in tournament, round 1 in the West, LeBron. You don't have to like him. You do have to acknowledge him. We'll tell you why when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
All right, so I'm seeing Nerdist just posted something about something called the My Tail, where it's an actual tail, and with your phone you can make it move and stuff. Why?
That is the only and correct response. It's like we said a few weeks ago, Lonzo. I am not in a position to judge anybody for the things that they like, and I understand the need for a connection. but there are people who take their hobbies too far, and needing your furry tail to be lifelike is too far.
All right, I need to amend it a little bit. If it was a dragon tail, I might be interested in a dragon tail, but not a furry tail.
Yeah, that would be too much.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, a dragon tail would be a good prop for a live D&D if you were a dragonborn, or what are they called? What are the half dragons called? I forget what they're called in Dungeons and Dragons.
Not dragon. No, dragon. Oh, damn it. I know we're both on a race to look it up at this point.
It's half dragon, I guess.
No.
Well, it says half dragon. I know there's a name, and for some reason, and I should know it.
It's not Dragonborn.
It is Dragonborn.
Is it Dragonborn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Dragonkin. Yeah. And I think Dragonborn, I think.
Sports talk brewed locally.
Oh my God!
Elder Scrolls.
Bring him a microbrew, quick!
This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is ESPN Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, you. Be a part of the show, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text this 71307 on the Ingles Market text line. And join us on the live stream. Watch us do the show behind the scenes at Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. You do not have to like him. You don't have to be a fan. All of that is fine. But you do have to recognize him. You do have to acknowledge him. And that is because at this point in his career, dude is still doing things like this.
James, two defenders. Poke inside. He's tied up by Green. Throws it back up top. James puts up the three. Oh, it's gone! LeBron James from downtown as the shot clock expires. A desperation heave, and the Lakers are up 3.
The Lakers take the late 103-100 lead, and it would end like this.
Bazemore to inbound. Poole coming free. Curry trying to get free. Lost the ball. That's it. The Lakers are in the playoffs. The Warriors need to play on Friday. What a thriller here at the Staples Center.
The Lake Show trailed by as many as a dozen down the stretch before Bron goes Bron and comes up with the clutch fadeaway fall-away three from distance. Look, man, you don't have to like the guy as a person, Lonzo, but you got to respect that when the game is on the line, there aren't many players you want the ball in the hands of more than LBJ.
Well, when he went off the court, you saw what happened. It was a struggle. When he came back on, then they got back on top. I also want to shout out to Caruso, man. I mean,
such a G.
He is. You know, he makes he takes some stupid shots sometimes that look completely awkward. And they look horrible. He did that last night, and then he followed it up with an awesome defensive stand right after that. He makes up for those goofy shots that he takes every once in a while by playing some killer defense, and Curry does not like him being on him. Curry still got his, but he struggled a little bit more with Caruso sticking him. So I like that. I like seeing Caruso stand out, but you're right. LeBron is LeBron, and they're a little rusty. You can tell they're a little rusty.
Yeah, look, it's the first time in a while that they've had the full contingent ready to go. And it took some time to get there, but when it got down to crunch time, end of the third quarter, they were down, 14? I think, a dozen at one point. And then it was just chip away. And it wasn't like the Warriors were playing poorly, right? I mean, Steph Curry's still Steph Curry. Draymond Green was making life very difficult for Anthony Davis. He had him swallowed up. But the Lakers, man, I got to tell you, I know they get credit for being a team, for being a team that is more about star power than anything else, Alonzo. But dude, the fourth quarter of that basketball game last night was about as much of a hustle game as I have seen out of an NBA team in a very long time. They could have easily, down a dozen in the fourth, they could have easily folded. They could have easily just said, you know what? We'll take Memphis in the final game. We'll be happy with the 8 seed. And they did not. They put the grit on display, Zoe. Look, I've not been a big Lakers fan this year, but that team that I saw last night, all of the sudden, that 7 team in the West with their full complement, they look dangerous, man.
You know, and I wasn't aware that they're the number 1 defense in the NBA. That's going to help a bunch, especially if they stay healthy and they start to gel again in the playoff. Their scoring is going to come on, and if their defense does what it's doing, then maybe they're back in the final. Who knows?
Yeah, dude, they're good. They're just good. That's just all that it is. I don't know what else you would be looking for. I don't know what else you would be looking for. Zoe pointed it out a second ago. This team is a good defensive team. Defensive rating, they are number 1 in the league right now, giving up an average of 106.8. The 76ers give up more. The Jazz, the Knicks, the Warriors, the Suns, the Grizz, the Clip, the Bucks. I don't know why I'm reading the name. Literally every NBA team gives up more than the Lakers do. They are a hustle team. They slap the floor. And I don't think, and this is kind of interesting to me, Lonzo, I don't think they get enough credit for it, right? We think LeBron and Anthony Davis, and we think about the young guys. We think about the Kyle Kuzmas of the world. This is a team that is based on, hey, star power, go out there and run them ragged. But this team will slap the floor and play some defense. You know, I said a couple of days ago that whether they were in the playoffs or they were out of the playoffs, in higher in the 7 or down in the 8, I thought that this team had real potential to cause some chaos, especially being in the bottom. And if they go and they knock out the 2 seed early, even if they end up having to go on the road for back-to-back series against the top 2 teams, they were projected before the injuries kicked in, Lonzo. They were projected to be a 1 or 2 seed. Yes, they got to go on the road, but they are still 1 or 2 seed good. They just got racked with injuries in a way that most other NBA teams did not have to deal with. Now they've got the full complement back. This 7 seed Lakers team is not a squad to sneeze at. Phoenix had better bring A game in round number 1. That's my upset series. I love CP3. Dude's playing all-star ball. I love Devin Booker. He might be the best player in the league nobody's talking about. But the Suns had better be on guard in series 1 because a healthy Lakers team, you saw what they could do last night against a very good Golden State team.
I do wonder what the Vegas odds are as far as what teams coming out of the West, because I don't know. And if they improved after what the Lakers were able to do last night, because let's face it, it's still a question. Can Anthony Davis and most importantly, can LeBron James stay healthy? And you know, they took their bumps last night, including LeBron, which I want to say, you know, sometimes announcers, I don't think they have a clue what's going on. When the flagrant happened, last time I checked, a face palm is a flagrant. To me, I mean, if you jump up in the air and you face palm the other guy and knock him out of the air, that's probably a flagrant. And I think it was Van Gundy said he was playing through the ball or he jumped straight up. It's like, yeah, he may have jumped straight up, but his hand went straight out and face palmed him. And he did the same thing. I think it was to Caruso right before he did it to LeBron. And I think Draymond Green gets away with a lot of stuff, and that's his game. But I mean, come on, that's flagrant. You don't face palm somebody and it not be a flagrant.
I disagree with you. I thought it was common. I was on Van Gundy's side. I thought that was a common foul. I think it was a violent common foul.
It's okay. It's a violent common. Where's that line? Where's the line where a violent common foul becomes because there's no wind up? That's stupid. These guys have like 6 foot long arms. You don't need a wind up to knock somebody down when you're up in the air and you face palm them.
I think it looked bad, but Van Gundy was right. He went vertical. The arm was out, but it did not come down, but the arm was up and it remained up. There was no forward motion of the arm. The arm was straight up, not straight up. It was angled forward, but as a whole, the arm went straight up and down. He jumped vertically. I was fine with the call.
So what you're saying, if you're an NBA player and you watch that and you saw that wasn't game on, I can face palm. I'm face palming this entire time, and they can't call flagrant on me.
Again, I think you have a thing. You cannot throw the arm towards a player, but Draymond did not throw his arm toward the player. He had his arm out. It was facing forward. LeBron, to me, and I'm a Bron guy, all right? I like LeBron. I'm a Bron guy. Bron jumped up into the hand, and Draymond is just built like a brick outhouse.
Let me just say, if this had happened to Steph Curry, I'd be saying the same thing. A face palm has got to be flagrant. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, again, to me, in tennis basketball, the hand remained vertical. It did not come forward to LeBron. The hand went up and down straight vertically. LeBron, it looked bad, I promise you. I had the same thought. When they initially stopped to review, I'm like, I'm fine with the review. But after watching it, I thought they got the call right. Did you hear LeBron after the game, by the way? He goes, I got poked in the eye, right? He says, I got poked in the eye. They said, well, how did that impact your play? He said, when I rose up for the 3, I saw 3 baskets, and I shot for the one in the middle. Listen, I like LeBron. LeBron has a tendency to exaggerate fouls a little bit. He has a tendency to which is fine. I understand. Every time LeBron exaggerates, he gets the ball for his team. I would do the same thing. The more I get the ball for the team, the more chances we have to score and win. LeBron tends to exaggerate, and I think he maybe exaggerated that one just a little bit. That's as a Bron guy. All right? Quick break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, if you're going to do a crime, and don't do a crime, but if you're going to do a crime, you don't do it to this guy. I got the story of one Houston would-be car thief. No, I don't, because that was in the Fight Club coming up at 2:20. So we will save that. Instead, let's talk about Travis Etienne down in Jacksonville. A starting what? That's next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
the 106.3 WORD Weather Center.
So that's why we have the live stream folks up, so I can watch Alonzo go, no, that's my story.
Well, it's your show. I mean, you can take it. I mean, you know, we're not going to have that much time, so we won't have enough time to give it its due justice.
What, for Fight Club?
No, for if you did it right here.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm going to restroom.
10-4. Those of y'all on the stream, appreciate you joining us. Make sure you leave your comments so we can chat about them. That's why we do this, so we can talk off the air. I have a trope in wrestling that I'm struggling to make comfortable with. Why is it that there's the only time there's a repercussion for a female wrestler slapping the face off of a male wrestler, and we would like there's never repercussions until the male wrestler goes and find a female wrestler to fight back, right? Like, should there not be a rule in place that female wrestlers cannot make contact in kayfabe, cannot make contact with male wrestlers? There's no available repercussions.
Yeah, absolutely. There should be. Even though we know wrestling is staged, the guy can never retaliate because there are laws in certain states. I don't know if there is one in Florida where you can't. I think it's something about the portrayal of something like that you can't do, and I forget what it is exactly, but I heard about it a while ago. But it's unfair for sure.
So like now, so you got Raquel slapping the face out of Everrise, and
by the way, Everrise, I watched her show for the first time. Oh, dude, you got to watch it. It's the kind of cornball that you expect to the extreme, and they play it up, and they know how cornball it is. You remember when the WWE guys, John Cena and those guys, did that parody thing? I forget what it was called.
Yes, the whatever Midwest wrestling.
Yeah. That it's that degree of cornball.
What was it called? It was that they based it down Mid-South Wrestling.
There we go.
Mid-South Wrestling. It was down in Shreveport, Louisiana, and it was one of the funniest lines of parody wrestling of all time. And the fact that they had everybody in it, right? They had Rhino, they had Rollins, they had the what were they called? The Good Brothers.
Hold on a second. Alyssa, are you there? Okay, sorry. I forgot all about it. It's because I'm old. So we're good though. You're welcome. Well, it's the truth. I mean, compared to the people I'm talking to, I'm old. We're back, by the way.
Unfiltered sports talk every weekday noon to 3. This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show. Rob Alonzo with the 844-GSP ESPN text to 71307 on the Ingles Market text line. Coming up in the next hour of the show, keep in mind, at 2:20, we have got Fight Club. Lonzo walking us through all things combat sports here on the Upstate. A couple of texts that have come in on the Ingles Market text line at ESPN. It was an easy foul. He didn't try to knock him down. And ESPN, anybody can jump into a hand that is straight up and put it in their face. That's what LeBron did moving forward. Yeah, I agree. And as a Bron fan.
Yeah, he jumped. I'm going to jump up into this guy's hand and knock myself on the ground. Yeah, I just, I've seen him flop before. That was not, yeah.
2 weeks ago, had a hand go by his head, and he went down to the ground like a sniper had taken him out.
Yeah, and if you get away with that, that's fine. In this case, it was not a flop. He got face palmed.
He jumped into he face palmed himself.
I jumped into that haymaker. I don't know what. Yeah, it wouldn't have hit me, but I jumped. Oh, come on.
That's a thing. In fact, go look. That is literally James Harden's play style. That's all James. And James Harden would not be in the scoring category if the NBA did away with jumping into fouls. That is literally James Harden's game. Yeah, LeBron's guilty too, and I like Bron. All right, coming up in the next hour, we got Fight Club at 2:20 plus a very interesting conversation about the strikeout rate in baseball from one of baseball's biggest names. Is he right or is he wrong? We'll address that next on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
Have a Prisma in the first break.
Have you seen the previews for iModoc? Zoe.
Yeah, I have.
I am so in. I love Patton Oswalt, and I love his commitment to nerddom, and the fact that he is the creative voice behind that show and the voice of MODOK. I'm 100. It's not like a traditional MODOK voice that he does for it, but I'm still very much in.
He's one of those guys that I got to struggle to get past his politics, but this show looks pretty good.
There was an episode of Parks and Rec, which is one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
Yeah, so they're doing a city council meeting, and he's playing one of the Pawnee residents, and he gets up in order to try a filibuster, and he does in real life, Lonzo, did like a 17.5-minute speech about why the Star Wars prequels were not good. And he did it in real life, and they ended up putting like 4 minutes of it into the episode. But the cast members afterwards, they basically said, we need you to show up and do like a minute or two of a filibuster speech that's like completely off the rails. He showed up and did 19 minutes with no prep work, just off the top of his head, riffed for 19 minutes about the Star Wars prequels weren't good. And they turned it into a good chunk of the episode. And immediately I was like, all right, I'm a Patton Oswalt stan, 100%.
Except he's wrong, because without the prequels, there's some things that we wouldn't have, including Darth Maul. We wouldn't have Duel of Fates. You have I have the high ground. There's just a lot of things. A lot of things.
4 out of 7 hours worth of movies that weren't good.
There are those who hate the prequels just because it's popular to hate the prequels. There is elitism in the nerd realm. It does exist.
Can I just point out that every time I don't like a thing that you like, you're like, it's only popular to dislike the thing, and that's why I dislike it. And if you don't like the thing,
warning.
You also have a look on your face when you talk about it. It's an elitist look. It's a haughty look.
Unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Yeah. Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Baseball have a problem with the increasing strikeout rate. One of baseball's biggest names has spoken out and said, yes, that not just the rise of the number of strikeouts, but the rate at which the number of strikeouts and the strikeout rate is rising is bad for baseball. Peter Gammons has been covering the sport for a very long time. And Gammo is one of the voices that I respect in baseball. The dude is good at his job. And he's one of these dudes that genuinely loves the sport. He likes baseball. He loves baseball, and it's important to him. So Peter Gammons, and it's a bit of a long clip, but there is a reason why I am playing it, and we'll talk about it on the flip side. Peter Gammons says there is a problem with the rate of strikeouts happening in baseball. Here is the podcast that he was doing along with Jeff Passan and a couple of other baseball insiders on ESPN the other day.
An enormous number of strikeouts so far this season, a record-setting amount, and we're starting to see just discussions about pitchers being so far ahead of hitters in a way that I think we haven't seen before. And so you guys have obviously seen the game change more than I have. And so I'm curious, what has been your perspective on how you've seen the game change over the course of the last 10 years, especially as we've seen kind of the influx of kind of the 3-outcome game and launch angle and the introduction of video as such a main thing. Tim, we can start with you.
Yeah, I must say I'm a little bit worried right now where the game is. As we all know, there were 1,092 more strikeouts than hits in the month of April. We've never had a month like that in Major League history. And routinely, I watch a big league pitcher, whether it's Cole or DeGrom or Bieber or Corbin Burns, and I wonder, how does anybody ever get a hit off of these guys? That's how good the stuff is. And when our best pitchers locate, the hitter basically has no chance to get a hit. And that is not very healthy. Last year, the Reds had more walks than singles. That's never happened to any team in a full season, even though that wasn't a full season. This year, we've already had 2 games in which there were 6 hits total by the 2 teams and at least 30 strikeouts. 2. We've only had 4 in the history of baseball. We've already had 40 times that a hitter has struck out at least 4 times in a game. Okay, Bill Buckner and Mike Scioscia, different era, I get it. Never struck out 3 times, and 40 times already has a hitter struck out 4 times. That's where we are. The stuff the pitchers have today is so amazingly good, so violent, and they don't even have to throw their fastball because their secondary pitches are so good. And my worry is that we've lost the value of the hit. We're all trying to get the ball up in the air. We are being taught by the clubs, get the ball up in the air. And in trying to do that, you strike out all the time. You don't put the ball in play. And yet, to make the adjustment and tell a hitter tonight, hey, we want you to hit it the other way tonight. We want you to put it in play against Max Scherzer. Good luck. They've never been trained to do that. It's going to get even worse if they try to make the adjustment right now in season. So this adjustment, to me at least, has to start in the batting cages of literally 10-year-old kids. And we start to change the way they approach their approach at the game. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot more 6-hit, 30 strikeout games.
That was Tim Kirkshin. I said Gammo, that was my bad. It's Tim Kirkshin. He says, look, baseball players are not being trained to hit the ball into play. They're being trained to hit home runs and accept strikeouts. And he pointed out we have had 40 instances this season where a guy is K'd 4 times in a baseball game. And that's a big number. Now, I find myself, though, as I often do, kind of being in the middle of this topic. On one hand, if pitchers are training themselves to get significantly better at controlling pitches and making it that much more difficult to hit them, then batters ought catch up. That's really difficult to do. Hitting a baseball is, as is often called, one of, if not the hardest things to do in all of sports. But on the flip side, I think Tim Kirkshin's got a point, Zoe, in the fact that we have kind of gotten away from situational hitting. We've kind of gotten away from contact hitting. I have coached at the little league and middle school levels. I've coached baseball in the past. And I can absolutely tell you that there are little league, middle, and high school coaches out there that are teaching their kids how to swing up, how to elevate the ball, and kind of putting an emphasis on the long ball instead of getting the ball into play and relying on your base running to help you score runs. I'm not going to sit here, Zoe, and go, oh, it's ruining the game. It's making the game unwatchable. But when you have games that have 15, 16, 17 out of 27 batters striking out, if you're baseball, I appreciated that because I was a pitcher. Not a good one, but I was one. I appreciate a guy going out there and working the corners and whiffing 17 dudes. I appreciate that. That's a tough thing to do. But I understand why baseball would be concerned because not everybody does. And when guys aren't running bases and they're going K or dinger, I can understand how that is a threat to baseball on television. I kind of fall in the middle of this. I don't think pitchers should be punished for continuing to get better. We are coaching pitchers to continue to get better and become more difficult to hit. But at the same time, I understand why a 17K game doesn't necessarily make great television. And I really think at the end of the day, that's their biggest concern. When you've only got 10 guys that are hitting the ball and only 2 or 3 of them are actually touching up a base. We had back-to-back no-hitters in the last 2 days. I can understand how that would concern somebody whose chief primary concern is baseball being entertaining on television.
I normally wouldn't speak for Rob, but I'm going to speak for Rob on this. So on behalf of Rob and myself, we are available to step up to the plate and strike out 3 times in a row while swinging for the fences, and we're willing to take the pay that comes with that. We're willing to do that.
Dude, I will strike out for 1/10 of the pay of the lowest paid salary player on the Detroit Tigers.
We're going to look good doing it too, by the way. Because I can swing pretty hard, and I know Rob can swing pretty hard. When it comes down to it, I think one of the things you said, in all seriousness, is it's up to the batters to catch up. I mean, it's awesome that these pitchers have that kind of control. But baseball will try to find a way to change the game to make it to where pitchers can't pitch as well as they can, somehow give advantages back to batters. But it really comes down to is get better at hitting those pitches. That's the only way you got to the major league somehow, I'm guessing, by hitting the pitches that were coming at you, and you need to just get better at it.
Well, baseball's already taken that step, right? I mean, we talked a couple of days ago
with the balls, but you actually have to make contact with the ball in order for that to be effective.
The ball not traveling as far is irrelevant if you're not actually hitting the baseball. That's exactly right. One of the things they're experimenting with in a couple of lower leagues is moving the pitcher's mound back a foot to 2 feet. Give an extra 1/100th of a second for a batter to determine and get a read on the ball before they take a chop at it, right? Baseball is making efforts to come up with a way to make that more realistic, to get more balls in play. Look, there are, what did Kirkston say? We've had a couple dozen games where we have had more walks than singles or something like that, which is it's not all that crazy. It is crazy that it's the first time that it has happened, right? It is something that if you are concerned ultimately about the numbers on television, guys not getting base hits, guys not running the bases is nuts. I know I keep harping on it, but it's just, I like talking about it. Went to that Braves games a couple of weeks ago down in the ATL, and there were 3 or 4 home runs, and I think we had 3 base hits on the night. On the night between both teams, we had 3 base hits. A good chunk of the runs that scored late in the game. I mean, until the 11th and 12th innings. But at that point, you were at the back end of the bullpen. So you were bringing in your least talented pitchers, and now all of a sudden guys are starting to get base hits. Look, I'm not saying it's an enormous problem, right? I don't think it's nearly the disaster that Tim Kirkston's making it out to be, and I like Tim. In fact, we'll see if we can get Tim on the show in the next couple of weeks. I'll reach out to ESPN and see if we can get Tim to join us here on the show. But it is something that needs to be, it's something that baseball is considering. I kind of come down in the middle. I absolutely will tell you that if I am a lower level coach, if I'm a high school, college coach, I am switching my focus. I want these kids that in middle school and elementary school and little league were taught to be swinging to elevate the baseball. I want them to go back to being able to put the ball up, especially look at what's happening now. You're looking at so many guys now that we're starting to see the shift. We're starting to see the shift become we're seeing it 3, 4, 5 times a game in baseball. Why are we seeing the shift? Because as guys are swinging to elevate the baseball, they fall into a trend of only going to one side of the field. You see the shift go on because guys hit it to one side of the field predominantly. And if I am a baseball coach at the college or pro level, I want my guys to get back to understanding how to hit the ball to areas as opposed to the fence or not at all. When I set my first baseman up there and they know that he has a tendency to swing late, so they're making the shift and putting 3 interior diamond players on the right side and leaving the third baseman to cover the entire left side, I want that guy to know how to push the ball back down the left where all the room is. I want the guy to know how to go opposite field. So when I got a runner on third, I want him to know how to push the ball to right field to give me a shot to tag up and beat the throw home. And we've lost that to some degree. That, however, Zoe, that's a strategy thing, right? Well, I mean, baseball can't really do a lot to ease the competition to take away a strategic decision, and that's what that is. And until managers start going back to that, baseball's just going to keep seeing the shift, and they're going to keep seeing this mentality of dinger or K and nothing in the middle.
I was in here setting up the show earlier, and Greeny had a guest on. I didn't hear who it was, but they were acting like they were upset that the amount of no-hitters in games like that were making it less significant, and that was bothersome to them. Well, why? Why is it making it less significant to throw a no-hitter? It's still got to be pretty hard, even with you can't blame it all on these guys just trying to swing for home runs. You still got to throw the pitches, and they still got to miss. And I don't think it lessens the amazing feat that's happened. I mean, that's still one of the coolest things in all of sports.
Oh, 100%. Look, I whenever I see a good pitching matchup come up, right? I get a Ian Anderson v. Max Scherzer matchup. That's the must-watch game for me. That's the must-watch game for me. There are plenty of lineups that got a few 300 guys and a couple of 260, 270 players in there. And those are fun matchups to watch because you know the ball's going to be in play. But give me a couple of guys that have ERAs in the mid-ones, and that's my matchup for the night. That's the one I'm watching. No doubt about it. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Lonzo's Fight Club, all combat sports for an entire segment. Lonzo's in charge when we return on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
Prisma.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
Prisma Health is the official healthcare provider of both the Gamecocks and the Tigers, and they want to be the official healthcare provider for you and your family as well. And all of those resources that they make available to Clemson, to South Carolina, well, they're available to you as well. They want you to be treated the same way that they treat some of the premier athletes around our area, and they will. They have over 2,400 medical providers around the upstate available to you so that you can find the doctor that you like, the doctor that you trust, and the doctor that you want in charge of your healthcare decision. Plus, with convenient locations located all around the area, they make it easy for you to find a location that is quick and easy and won't take time of your day. And hey, if you can't get out of the house, if you are super busy, but you still got a concern, No worries. Go to prismahealth.org, and you can book a virtual visit. You can visit with your healthcare provider face-to-face virtually so that you don't even have to leave the house. Go to prismahealth.org to learn more. prismahealth.org to learn more. Prisma Health of the Upstate.
AutomotiveMap.com.
By the way, you'll be glad to know if you ever are back in the office again that Captain America went up into the eaves, into the attic of the building, whatever you want to call it, and took the dampener, which was at 100% open, down to 75% open or closed, and it's much more tolerable in there.
Love it. Love it.
The powers that be just told me to open the door. It didn't solve the problem of the thing just blowing directly down. I was to the point where I was going to go purchase a cap. I forget what it's called exactly, where it will block the air coming down and make it go out the sides.
Right.
I was about ready to. I'd already checked into it to see how much they costed, but he fixed that, so that was really cool.
Via a conversation that I had this morning, Zoe.
Yes.
It is looking like the wheels are in motion for a return to the studio sometime in the very near future.
Yeah, I kind of figured that because I know certain departments are returning, and there are certain people in the building from other parts of the building that haven't been in the building in a year, and they've been here steadily, which I still say has something to do with why the air is suddenly working the way it is. Those people return to the building, and suddenly the air does that. But, it's more conspiracy theory, apparently, according to engineering. But,
The information I was given this morning is that there is basically a priority order of people that they want back into the studio in certain groups so that they can get them in there and then make sure everything's good and then bring in another group and then make sure everything's good. And this may shock you, Lonzo. So stay seated so you don't fall over when I tell you this. This may shock you. But I am at the very bottom of that priority.
No.
I know. And it's funny because when I had the conversation with the power being questioned this morning, and they said, do you want to come back? They asked me, do you want to come back in studio? And so I have to tell you, I had a very deep conflict in my own head of, do I want to give up the freedom that I have of working here in the house of the Casa de Love? And you want to know what the worst part? The first thing that went to my brain was, crap, my gas money is about to double, right? Because now I'm going to be driving 20 miles a day, which is going to mean I got to start paying more in gas. But at the same time, like,
with all the places you go, come on, that's your
working means I still go to those places and also have to drive to work every day.
How far of a drive you got? Like what, 8-9 minutes, something like that?
No, it's a good 12, 13 from me to the studio.
Okay.
Because I gotta go down Pleasantburg, over to the interstate, probably 6 miles on the interstate. Then I gotta get off the interstate onto Woodruff, and I'm taking into consideration that, I'm hitting rush hour both ways on Woodruff. I'm hitting it in and out to get just that 80 feet. Sometimes takes an hour.
Well, there are other ways to get here from where you are, which might help you to avoid traffic.
No, the way that I come is the shortest way to be on Woodruff Road, I believe. There's not a
shortest does not always mean fastest when you take in time of day and traffic. And
that doesn't suck.
there's a way for you to avoid Woodruff Road. Yes. When you get back in studio, I'll show you. I don't have time to tell you right now.
Petulant, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants. I'm a bad man.
I get so pumped up and excited every time I hear that intro because that means it's Thursday, and there are two guarantees on Thursdays: Fight Club and Mark Ryan at Ingles. Those are the two guarantees on Thursday. And, by the way, they just happen to go together because that means he has to listen to the Fight Club on his way to Ingles, because I don't believe that his radio will go to any other station than ESPN Upstate. And, it's good for that show for men to I just want to say we got another one today, another one for the show for boys.
Yeah, man.
Spartan Burgers. They're on board. They're absolutely
our new buddy, by the way, our new buddy Casey from the Spartan Burgers.
There you go.
Came in kicking ass and taking names in his debut appearance here on the show. And so I got to tell you, dude, I was absolutely pumped for that. That was great.
Yes, I was. We both did the Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier reaction. Back in your chair type thing. Like we just saw a wonderful knockout. Speaking of a knockout, Rob tried to steal my thunder a little bit earlier, but luckily he did not, because I went crazy on the stream and he actually saw me and stopped. And here's the reason why, because I saw this story a couple of days ago. And at first I didn't believe it. So here's the story. Derek Lewis of the UFC, big boy, allegedly stopped a car thief by punching him. So here's why I say allegedly. That's what I thought at first, but there's a reason why I now believe it. And it's a little bit further in the story. But so after Derek Lewis punches a guy and he holds him down on the ground until the cops come, by the way, he's taking pictures of his knuckles to show everyone how hard he punched this guy. And here's a couple of things that he wrote on social media. Bleep pick right, wrong car to break into. He's okay. And he made sure he's okay was in all caps. Another one, because he sent out a couple, a bleep tried to break into my bleep. But he's okay. And then another one, satisfaction, and he's okay. He stressed every single time that the dude is okay. But if Derek Lewis hits you so hard that he bruises his knuckles,
ain't okay.
You're not okay.
Not okay.
You absolutely are not okay. And it just goes to show you, if you're a would-be thief and you're listening to the show right now, don't do it, man. Don't do it. I mean, there's a better way out there for you. But if you are going to be so stupid as to do such a thing, you might want to find out whose car you're breaking into, because it could go really bad for you. And so I didn't entirely believe it at first, because some of these things sound made up, until in this article, there's a policeman. The policeman's last name is Silva, which I find kind of suspicious, but the policeman's last name is Silva, which is a pretty famous name in UFC and in MMA. Here's what the policeman said. Mr. Lewis says he went over to the suspect, struck him, placed him onto the ground until the police arrived. That's the nicest way to put it. This is what the cop said. That's the nicest way to put it. The alleged thief was taken to the hospital for treatment and was in the process of being booked into custody as of Tuesday afternoon. The alleged thief is facing a charge of criminal mischief, Silva said, because our winner did not get into the vehicle. So he couldn't be charged with Grand Theft Auto because he didn't make it into the car. And I love how the cop calls him our winner.
Our winner.
Yes.
Our winner.
What a great story. And words, again, if you're going to be dumb enough to break into a car, you might want to know whose car you're breaking into.
Be honest. Do you believe that Derek Lewis took my dude out? Do you believe him that he did it?
He had to go to the hospital. The guy had to go to the hospital. There's more than one punch thrown.
So you think he absolutely took out a carjacker? Because all he put was a photo of his knuckles, which I guess was to show they were bruised. But I'm like, well, you kind of punch people in the face for a living. They're probably bruised most of the time. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you are going to do a crime, and don't do a crime, but if you're going to do a crime, case the joint first and make sure that the crime you're going to do isn't a crime against the UFC's number one contender in the heavyweight division, because that crime will be a very bad crime for you to do.
And I just got to say, nothing makes you more angry than someone taking your stuff. And imagine being Derek Lewis and someone's trying to take his stuff, knowing what how good of a fighter he is. Now, he could have went out there. The guy may have been, armed or something. He didn't know. So I'm sure he didn't say, excuse me, sir, what are you doing? I'm sure he just walked up and punched the guy. I'm sure he did. He's probably as stealthy as a big guy could be. He walked up and knocked dude out, more than likely. And I'm sure there's some ground and pound involved. Because he held him down, did he actually have to hold him down? I'm picturing the cop showing up and dude's just knocked out, drooling on the ground. That's what I'm picturing. I have seen a couple different occasions people breaking into my car while I was watching, or attempting to break into my car while I was watching. One time, dude ran, but I found out where he lived. My uncle owned the property and his entire family got evicted. That wasn't my choice. But him trying to break into my car got his entire family evicted from where they were living. And then the other time someone tried to break into my car, I had a broken knee. But my roommate said, come here, look. And we're watching these two guys in the garage. The sad part was the car was unlocked because I'm an idiot. And they could have got everything inside of it. But instead, they cut the keyhole out. The whole, it was... So I went out in crutches and we chased those guys down. So I know how mad I was. And if you've ever had anything, Derek Lewis mad, it's got to be, there's a couple guys I don't want to see angry coming at me. Derek Lewis would be one. Francis Ngannou will be another one. These are guys you just don't want to. Bobby Lashley probably wouldn't want to see him coming angrily at me. Braun Strowman. I mean, there's just some guys you don't want them mad at you. So I do believe the story since it was corroborated by the police, even though the policeman's last name was Silva. I'm sure that was just a complete coincidence right there. All right, let's move on to WWE and Raw. And here's the reason why we mentioned this. I think it was on the stream. I don't think it was on the air. Kofi Kingston upset Bobby Lashley Monday night. And I know that Rob doesn't believe Kofi Mania can happen again. But my question to Rob is, who finally defeats Bobby Lashley? Who would they, or will he have like a year-long reign?
It's McIntyre, dude. Like I know you don't want it to be, but this is one of what's been my chief and primary issue with the WWE for the last handful of years.
Same matches over and over again.
Matches and same folks at the top over and over. And that is because I know you don't like it. And I understand that he's the Godfather. He is El Parrain. But Vincent Kennedy McMahon decides who his guys are, and he rides with those guys until either A, somebody else becomes too big to ignore Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, or he rides with those guys until he finds his next man crush, and Drew McIntyre and Lashley are his man crushes. So McIntyre is going to get his belt back. Otherwise, they hit a logical, clean conclusion, right? Lashley beat McIntyre clean at a pay-per-view, the big pay-per-view. That's the end. But VKM has his boy crush on McIntyre. Don't get me wrong. I understand it, right? McIntyre is a prototype, but he's got his boy crush on Drew. And he's going to push that back. They're going to tell some other stories to break up the monotony real quick. Kofi's going to get involved. Bobby will murder Kofi Kingston. And then Drew will come out to save him. And we'll get a brand new McIntyre-Lashley feud. That's been the thing that has pushed me away from Raw towards SmackDown, NXT, and AEW.
All right, Bray Wyatt online on social media making fun of zombies. Is that out of line? Is that just as lame as the zombies themselves? And is it okay to make fun of something going on in your company, like on another show or something?
Well, I hope it's okay because you and I have been doing it for 4.5 months now. But look, I don't know. I mean, it would be like if Brad Pitt came out afterwards and started making fun of the zombies in World War Z, right? Like, he's an actor. It's a show. It's fake. It's staged. Should actors be able to make fun of the movies and whatnot? I probably wouldn't with Vince in charge because we know he can be spiteful. And on top of that, we have seen Bray 3 different times come up with great characters, great organic growth, only for Vince to squash him and make him start all over again. If I'm Bray, the question is, how much do you care about being successful in the WWE versus being successful in wrestling, right? And if you want to be successful, if you're Bray, I wouldn't have done it. That being said, yeah, I made fun of the zombies a lot because it was a great premise for a theatric match that just did not translate well to what Vince had it be.
Apparently, Miz actually got hurt in that match.
Yeah, his ACL.
Yeah, so and finished it.
He couldn't run from the zombies.
Yeah, there's a reason why, and there's a reason why they stayed covering him until they got off camera. So,
your full buy-in, do you have Miz and Morrison come out in zombie gear the next time they show up?
I would have done that, but they've already. I mean, Morrison's already been out there and kind of made fun. By the way, the zombie people were so angry about the zombies. They were coming at Batista, and Batista's like, "Bro, I'm on a plane. I don't do booking. I mean, like it's his fault, even though it's his movie, which I can't wait. I think it drops on Netflix tomorrow, so I'm going to watch that. All right, AEW. Well, let's get to AEW for NXT because I always don't get to AEW on time, and it may look like I'm doing it on purpose, which I might be. AEW is expanding into Friday nights. I didn't watch last night because of basketball, but they are going to be doing a show on Friday nights starting at 10 o'clock. So it's going to be on 10 to 11, and they say it has nothing to do with competition with the WWE because they're not going head to head. It just so happens that they're coming on right after SmackDown is over. And, according to their guys, it's more wrestling. What's wrong with that? And they're right. Also, Dynamite is moving to TBS.
Yeah, I saw that. That's cable move. That'll open up to a few more households, I believe. I believe TBS has access to more houses than TNT does, so that's a good move. I don't have an issue with it. The Friday night thing. Look, I don't think AEW wants to go head to head with WWE. Not as we don't think we can win, but I really do think Tony Khan believes, because if you go look, whenever there's like a WWE pay-per-view on, you see AEW guys, Tony Khan included, tweeting about it. And not like disrespectfully, like they're like, hey, great match, that was great, whatever. I don't think they want to go head to head, but which is why they're not. But I also think, Zoe, maybe they're dipping a toe in the water, right? Like, let's just see. If we can pull a similar number of viewers to SmackDown's final hour, which is the better of the two shows between SmackDown and Raw, if we can pull a similar number to Friday Night SmackDown at 9 p.m. after their show's off the air, then maybe we're a little closer to going head to head than we think we are. Right? Not that they will, but just as a gauge of where their product stands in the eyes of their fans right now. And I don't have an issue. I personally would rather they go up against Raw. I'd rather they compete because maybe that would give Raw incentive to, stop being bad. But I think it's maybe just a gauge of the temperature than it is a setup for a Friday night war.
Well, I agree. And for the most part, I don't watch wrestling live unless I'm like going to an event to watch it. I do what you do. I DVR it and watch it later. But I think it's a good move in one sense, putting it on at 10 o'clock on Friday nights, because when people are done with watching SmackDown, they may be like, let's turn over and see what AEW is doing. Now, are they going to try to go out of the way to have a killer match on as the first match every single time? Because chances are they're going to record it when they record Dynamite. because that just makes sense. Recording that third hour and put it, and will the matches be leaked and things like that? I don't go looking for that stuff. I know some people do because I know who's going to win. Yeah, so but I let's wait and see what happens. And then going on TBS, that's kind of cool. It's kind of significant because back in the day, TBS was one of those wrestling places. All right. Really quick, NXT, couple things that stood out in NXT. Killian Dane defeats Alexander Wolf after the Imperium beat him up, and now he's gone from WWE.
Yeah, that from what I've heard, that was less a firing and more of he wanted to move on.
He says his contract was up, but it's kind of weird. The same day they got rid of a bunch more talent and a referee. Most names you really haven't heard of, but one of the 4 horsewomen is gone, and Vanessa Bourne is gone.
Yeah, and Vanessa Bourne, I think, of that group was probably the one lady in that group that I thought had something. Like, I think she's got a well-flashed-out character and a chance to be somebody in the future. I wouldn't be shocked to see her. And I could see Alexander Wolf showing up elsewhere, too. I mean, he's not – I don't think he has necessarily the charisma to be a solo guy, but he could kind of do – for somebody else what Jackson Riker's doing right now with Elias. Yeah. But yeah, I think he was just done with NXT. They didn't really have, him joining Imperium was interesting, but like it wasn't compelling, right? It's like, okay, he's all right.
He's in another faction. Faction.
It's not compelling. And I think they just really didn't have anything for him to grow with. And that's why he decided to go ahead and call it a day with WWE.
All right. 3 other things. One, Cameron Grimes, awesome again. DiBiase showing up, awesome again. They're going to face off next. It's not going to be a wrestling match. Who knows what it's going to be, but as much DiBiase as you can get, and him showing the clips of DiBiase getting his butt handed to him a bunch, that was great. That was absolutely excellent.
Showing the DiBiase low light film to start it off was a great move from Cameron Grimes, but then DiBiase ultimately getting the payoff by costing him a match was phenomenal. Give me those two feuding without wrestling for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I'm curious whose idea was it to get DiBiase? Was it Hunter and Shawn Michaels, or was it Cameron Grimes? It absolutely does. All right.
Now here's where I turn into the Ultimate Nerd Zone. Cameron Grimes, via the storyline, made all his money in cryptocurrency, right? With the Bitcoin and the Dogecoin and all that. Well, a couple of days ago, the cryptocurrencies took like a 48% hit in the market, right? They went down. They lost their value almost by half. If they continue to fall, do we see an evolution of Cameron Grimes' character who has lost everything and DiBiase picks him up to mentor him back to success? Because I would be 1,000% here for that.
Oh, that would be excellent. All right. I know we got to go to break, but 2 matches were excellent. Legado del Fantasma versus Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa was an excellent match. And the main event, the steel cage match between Bronson Reed and Johnny Gargano, was excellent. I didn't believe that Bronson Reed was going to win it, and he did. And him crying at the end, whether real tears or not, I have to believe. But when they mention his wife is in the audience, well, you pretty much figure, well, he's probably going to win because of that.
You believe he would win, though? I mean, Gargano's carried this strap for a while. It wasn't a takeover, so Mr. Takeover wasn't at his best. I thought he was going to change. It was going to change.
Here's my worry is that the way will go away after he loses the belt. I just don't want that to happen. There's too much fun stuff going on with that faction. And I know I complain about factions all the time, but I like this one because it's a comedy faction and it just works so well. I hope it doesn't go away.
I don't think it will. I think they've developed enough other fun stories around it, and you can still have Gargano on a quest to reclaim that belt and/or other ones. I think it's just fine. All right, quick break, one quick segment, and then we hit Twitter Trending Topics. Call it a Thursday. Rob Alonzo, it's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
So should I watch AEW?
Yeah, it was good. It wasn't one of their better shows in recent memory, but it wasn't bad.
Okay.
Christian had his had another match against Matt Seidel. It was good. It wasn't great. It was a 3-star match, but it's worth watching just if you want to keep an eye on Christian. Darby and Sting came back out to face Scorpio Sky, and then they got a little help from other people coming out of the locker room, which was entertaining. Trying to think of what else stood out. Omega and Callis continue to be absolutely fantastic. And they had a couple of segments, including one with Orange Cassidy, where Cassidy didn't say a word the entire time, but yet was still very entertaining in the process. Shocking, I know. And you had 2 segments with the Pinnacle and Inner Circle where they're working on Stadium Stampede that were pretty solid.
Speaking of, by the way, Harley, in the next break, last week's Jericho's podcast, he broke down the entire match.
Yeah.
If you get a chance to listen to it. It's great. Him talking about the ideas going into it and how long it's been since they've been trying to do the match and how COVID got in the way and how they had to change participants and all that stuff. And he also addresses how people were upset about his fall.
Yeah.
And points out that, well, I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, but it wasn't padded the way people say it was. And he tells you exactly what it was made out of and how scared he was the entire day.
Oh, really?
Yes. And how he had the opportunity to practice it, and he said no. He was only doing it once, and he will never, ever do it again.
He did point out in the segment that he did on Dynamite, he did point out the fact that while that point was padded, if you go back and watch, the padding ended, well, padded, whatever it was, he only landed 6 or 8 inches short of hitting the actual stage.
Yeah, and
talking about that in the podcast.
He did.
Yeah, I went back and watched it. Yeah, if he jumps just that much harder, he legit breaks his neck.
Well, I'll just go ahead and tell you, it was like an 8-inch foam pad, the kind of pads that you normally see, and it was empty cardboard boxes. And apparently they had stunt coordinators there, and the stunt man's like, yeah, this is what we use for the most part. But they were using one of those big blow-up pads, the stunt guy was wearing a helmet. And he's like, how come you're wearing a helmet? He kept asking him, how come you're wearing a helmet? That would make you extra nervous. I
will tell you in my
and he even talked about Owen Hart too. So so that's got to be in the mind of everybody whenever they do anything like that.
My one foray into wrestling, it's you watch him do this stuff, Zoe, and you're like, oh yeah, man, like I could do that. I could take that hit. And I will tell you that it's one thing to look at and go, it's not that bad. And then somebody cocks back to throw a forearm shiver, and you're trusting them to hit your chest and come up as opposed to hitting the chin. And dude, it's genuine. Even like the basic moves, after a while you probably get used to them, but it's genuinely scary to take it the first time. So I can't imagine.
More than the scores, the ups and downs, the ins and outs. Real, unfiltered sports talk. It's the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
All right, real quick, before we get out to Twitter, I just want to remind you, keep an eye on your social media feeds today. Follow us on ESPN Upstate on Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/ESPN Upstate, and at Diesel on Radio, at Mark Ryan on Air, at Lonzo on Word, and at The Rob Brown Show, because coming up tonight around 7:30 p.m., 3 of us for sure, and maybe all 4 of us, are going to do the first ever episode of ESPN Upstate Off Topic. I think we're going to call it ESPN Upstate Off Topic. Tonight, we are going to give you all of our thoughts and opinions on the UFO discussion that's been going on. Mark Ryan brought it on his show, had tremendous reaction from you guys. We brought it up on our show yesterday, had tremendous reaction from you guys. So the 4 of us tonight are going to not stick to sports and are going to do a live stream together as a group to break down all of our thoughts on the UFO situation that's been playing out. That's going to be around 7:30. So make sure you're staying tuned. We'll be streaming it on the ESPN Upstate ESPN Upstate profiles on Facebook, Twitter, and my YouTube channel on The Rob Brown Show. So make sure you follow that as well. That's coming up around 7:30. Let's take a break. We come back. We wrap it all up with Twitter trending topics on The Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate, baby.
Harley.
Yep.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
Hey, look, I've been riding motorcycles for the better part of, 7 years now, 5, 6, 7 years, somewhere in that ballpark. And there are two things that I have to make sure. Number one, I have to make sure that my bike is taken care of by the folks who know it the best. That is number one. And number two, I got to know that what I'm riding, where I'm riding, when I'm riding is all set up safe and careful. That is why you need to get in touch with the folks over at Harley-Davidson of Greenville. Not only can they get you set up on a brand new 2021 Harley, a 2021 Harley with the new paint schemes, the new finishes, absolutely beautiful bikes with all the gadgets and gizmos, but on top of that, they can do all the work that you need done to make sure your bike is in tip-top condition right there at Harley. They take care of you from the moment you purchase the bike through your first ride all the way to your last. Harley-Davidson of Greenville is there for you. And on top of that, they can help you with all the questions you have. So if you are new to biking, if you are a veteran and need to know different details about gear and equipment for your bike, if you want to know some of the better places to ride around the upstate from start to finish, first to last ride, Harley-Davidson of Greenville is here to help you. Plus, this month is Ladies Month. Ladies, they've got some great deals for you. Go on in, visit 30 Chrome Drive in Greenville, 30 Chrome Drive, and check them out, or see them and their entire inventory online at upstateharley.com, upstateharley.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Harley-Davidson of Greenville.
Once again, I found myself in the restroom accidentally going into an English accent while someone from England was in the restroom. And always afterwards, he said I did quite well. And
He's been like Lonzo, stop. Just stop. No,
I can't help it. It's not. I'm not doing it because it's him. I just do that all the time. But we had a long conversation about toes, and yeah, and
So you spoke in a English accent and had a conversation.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I can't. I'm trying to recall. We've had very limited normal conversations ever in the last decade or so since they've been in this building. So, that's not unusual. Then once you realize you're doing it, then you either stop completely or you just go for it and hope you're doing well. And why do I care if he thinks that, my Cockney accent is good? I don't know. It's being recognized by your peers, I suppose.
As far as being English goes, don't think you're his peer. I think he's actually English.
That's a good point. Well, I was thinking radio peer, people who do impersonations all the time and stuff like that.
When you do that, does his accent come out at all?
He's got a couple different ones.
Yeah.
But he matched my accent. He didn't go deeper. He stayed at the level that I was at. Which,
how hard like when he does his show and when he talks in his normal voice, does he create an American accent or has he just is it just that's just how
he's lived here the majority of his life, so he's more American as far as accent wise. Yeah,
I knew that. I just didn't know if it was like
his family's back there, a lot of his family, but yeah, so. It's like, I'm from Ohio. My daughter was born here in South Carolina, so she got kind of a South Carolina accent. That's just how that goes.
The Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, it is time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending on the internet, and he tells everybody what he knows about it. The first thing that's trending is one of Rob's favorite topics, Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow is trending. I meant to bring this up earlier in the show, and I did not. Tim Tebow has signed a 1-year contract with your Jacksonville Jaguars, ladies and gentlemen. So the Sunshine State brings one of its own native sons home. They are going to be partnered up with Travis Etienne, who has been working out as a wide receiver in the rookie camp so far. Herb, I don't think is going to move him to that position. I think they just want him. He's going to be worked into the Jags scheme. We know Herb loves to throw passes. He had the Harvins and the Rainies and whatnot during his time at Florida. So I suspect he just wants Etienne to be more Chris Rainey-like in the Urban Meyer offense. But Tebow coming in as a tight end, we'll see if he ultimately makes the team. Zoe and I had a conversation very deep about it last week. Look, I think there is a chance that Tim Tebow could make the team and be a good enough gadget tight end / quarterback to actually contribute. But I think the bigger part of the reason is just the spectacle. I think it's selling tickets to the hometown crowd that will come out in mass. I'm telling you right now, Tim Tebow is going to sell close to as many jerseys, if not as many, as Trevor Lawrence as a Jaguar. That's how much they love him there. But I also think, Zoe, it takes the spotlight off of Trevor Lawrence a little bit and shines it on Tebow, so it gives Trevor some room to grow without being in the spotlight as number one overall pick.
Without a doubt. And the other thing is, if you saw the video, there's a video of him walking with the other tight end, whose name I don't know, and probably never will know, because the only tight end that's on the Jacksonville Jaguars, as far as I know, is Tim Tebow. And if you look, Tebow looks swole compared to the other guy. I don't know if that's good or bad, but his back's he looks jacked walking in there.
Tebow's never. I don't mean to go full Mark Ryan on you. Tim Tebow's never been anything less than a Greek god, man. I mean, he's always been absolutely cut. But the guy, I'm gonna give him this. While we all are saying maybe Tebow contributes to the team, maybe Tebow is able to help, maybe. Tim Tebow is, I guarantee you, whether it's a spectacle or not, Tim Tebow is showing up to be a damn football player. He is not going to be anything less. What did Herb call him? A competition maniac? Yeah. He is not going to show up in anything less than full mindset and physical shape to make this football team.
All right, the next thing was trending yesterday, but we're going to bring it up now because we didn't get to, and Rob loves to talk about Limp Bizkit.
LIMP Biscuit is right here. People in the house, put your hands in the air, because if you don't care, then we don't care. Limp Bizkit is playing Lollapalooza in Chicago this year. And not only that, but Korn is playing shows. Stained is playing shows. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been the better part of 21 years since Rob Brown's upper middle class white teenage angst got to make its debut. But I may be seeing if I can order a vintage pair of Jinkos and a red baseball cap to wear backwards. If Limp Bizkit comes anywhere around us, you better believe Diesel and I will be front row for that show.
I'm sure the struggle was real for you. I'm not down on them. It's just not my kind of crowd. I'm guessing.
Like you're if I had to guess, you're more in the Stained category than the Limp Bizkit category, if any of them.
If I had to pick one of the three, yes.
Look,
Korn would be last on my list.
Really? I figured Bizkit would be last on your list.
No, well, Korn's a little more evil.
I'd say dark. Yeah, that's fair. Limp Bizkit had a lot of fun stuff too, man. Limp Bizkit was that fun rage, right? That fun rock and roll rage. I grew up on a golf course. All right. I have no reason to have been a Korn, Stained, or Bizkit fan. I grew up on a golf course with a dad who drove a Harley and a Corvette. All right. I was fine. Limp Bizkit was just fun, dude. Just fun. So
you just went Hulk Hogan, dude.
Brother. That's going to do it for the show. We hand it off to Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. For Offsides, make sure you're on our social media page tonight around 7:30 when we go Offsides, Off Topics to talk UFOs. Yeah, it's going to get weird. It's going to be awesome. Thanks for listening, y'all. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. This was the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Later, stream. Thanks for hanging. Catch you on the flip side.